The following podcast contains adult language and themes, so don't say we didn't fucking warn you.
You're listening to SarahTalk. It's political.
If you really give a fuck about the life of the unborn, you'd better be prepared to help fund WIC and food stamps and welfare, because you don't get to say, I care about that life until it's born, and then turn around and say, well, you shouldn't have had sex if you couldn't care for this child. You should have gotten a better education. You need to work harder. Maybe you should take a second job. It's not my responsibility.
Critical.
When was the last time a Christian was allowed to have a separate place to say their prayers? Look, you can literally bow your head at your fucking desk. You're like, why did he get the thing and I didn't get the thing? You didn't ask for the thing!
And positively LGBT positive.
Look, whenever there's someone coming after my community, they are either wearing a MAGA hat, carrying a Bible, or more often both.
Oh, and occasionally completely absurd.
What the hell is in Idaho?
Potatoes.
Anyway? You could take a drill
Drill
a
up the
hole
hole in
in
a
a potato and
and
fuck
you'd
a
be
potato.
fine.
Would you marry a potato though? Could that be okay?
No, but you wouldn't have to marry a potato because a potato doesn't need consent for you to fuck it.
And now, from Haines City, Florida, your host, Sarah Austin.
Hey everybody, welcome to SarahTalk. I'm Sarah Austin. In the studio tonight, we have a guest, Momma Ashley Rose.
Hey everybody!
In the house. Becca is here.
I'm here.
Don't panic. She's just
I'm
off screen.
Off screen, which is so nice. I didn't have to put a bra on.
Thank you for that.
I didn't have to, do nothing.
We didn't put you in the corner.
Nope, not in the corner.
This time. Which is, we normally put her back here in the corner.
In the corner.
Also, you get the head of the table.
Yeah. This is better for me, though, so that if I have to go wrangle a dog or a child,
You
I'm
can
right
get
by
up.
the door.
Yeah.
I don't have to knock the camera tripod over us.
That would have been funny, though.
Oh, it would have been, and the whole Facebook would have gone sideways.
And
They
my
would have-
face
It would have
gone
fallen on the
bright red in
floor, and
anger.
they would have gotten a view of Mama. That would.
Oops.
Glad you wore your sparkly shoes.
It's true.
So Momma Ashley Rose is with the Rose Dynasty Foundation, and we're going to talk about some of that as we go along here. But first, let me just say, well done on Drag Queen Storytime last weekend.
Yes.
That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Honestly, I don't know, this may sound cliche. I couldn't have done it without everybody being there.
Yeah.
It would have been pretty boring. I don't like reading to myself. It just wouldn't have been really good. But I think we had 72 people.
Wow.
Polk County's first Drag Queen Storytime.
Yeah.
72 people.
It was our first story time too.
Yeah.
And there was there was just a moment when I had just that goosebump moment of
Yeah.
this is great. Look at all these people. This is exactly what it needs to be, where it needs to be. It was perfect. It was so great.
That makes me so happy. In fact, it was great because I did look around and there were tears. Several of our parents, and I'm going to call her out, Callie. She's up in D.C. somewhere traveling right now, but she was bawling her eyes out. And I've shared so many times even online. It was started, almost 3 years ago at Polk Pride. She approached me with her family and said, "Can you do this?" And I was like, "Sure. When? Where? How?" And we talked the living room. We talked all this stuff, and just how everything aligned up to where it. July 14th was the day. It was the day it was supposed to happen in Polk County.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of diversity there, really good.
Yeah.
From sexual orientation to race to gender to ages. I'm just still processing.
Yeah.
I am so excited for the next one.
It was so great.
I am so excited.
Yes.
And it was great to get up and dance with the kids. The kids trying to teach me how to floss.
Yeah, that was
not
funny.
my calling in life at all. I'll just stand there and look like Mama.
Yeah, I can't do that. I don't have the coordination for that.
Me either.
At all.
There's been several kids over the years trying to teach me, and it just doesn't work. So we'll continue to try.
So let's, before we get too far into that, let's sort of back up and talk about your story and how you came to this moment right now.
Oh my goodness. So this is a long story, and it's funny because I just shared it with a client today. I do hair outside of here and outside of Mama, and I was sharing that, and I'm like, wow, this is a long journey. So to fast forward it, I moved to Polk County. We moved back to Lakeland 3 years ago. It's okay. They're rooting me on in the background. I don't know if they can hear the dog, but the dog's rooting me on.
Yeah, driving me crazy.
Hey, I'm preaching. Amen. Right? No. So we'll back up a few years prior. We moved back to Florida just about 10 years ago. And I love to tell the story. I've done drag off and on since I had come out in early 99, 2000.
Okay.
And I just felt different. I mean, as we all do, LGBTQ plus, we did tend to feel different. But I just felt like I wasn't going to be this normal drag queen, the stereotypical drag queen. And I met a group of drag queens, one of them being Summer Holiday. So some people may know who that is. Joshua Collins. Became good friends with them, and I remember standing in their living room, and I was frustrated because I wasn't feeling like I was doing the drag that everyone wanted me to do, and I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to work the clubs as much. I didn't want to do that. I just felt that there was something different. And I remember Josh looking at me in his living room and said, "Mama, you have something to bring that no one else does. And if you don't do this, no one else is. So we think you need to just do what you need to do and be you." And it kind of stuck with me. So fast forward, we moved to West Palm. I had always wanted to have a drag pageant.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do I do that? I mean, I've done, Barbizon modeling stuff and some photography stuff, but I was like, how is this going to happen? And again, Josh was like, design a crown. Let's just design one. Let's just do it. So I found a place to make it, and I designed a crown. And I remember I set it in my living room. I'm not in my living room, my dining room table, and I looked at it, and I sent the picture to Josh, and I'm like, I think things just got real. I'm like, we've got to do something. So within 3 months, we put together the very first Miss Rose Dynasty pageant, which I take pride in because it's we know of the only family-friendly, 100% family-friendly drag pageant and 100% charity-based. Now we're going into our fourth one coming up in February, and I remember where I was at, there were several people that said this isn't going to work. They were telling people, don't even get involved. This is stupid. This is a stupid idea. As we like to do sometimes in our community. And it was...
Do you mean we're not one happy family?
Oh, no, we don't all
the
hold
letters
hands.
in the alphabet soup just get along?
No, it doesn't work that way. I really wish it does, but it just doesn't. We don't all hold hands and sing Kumbaya and somewhere over the rainbow and, we are family. It just doesn't work that way. So that it started to discourage me, but I'm like, no, I'm the type of person, if you tell me I can't do something, I'm either just not going to do it or I'm going to do it.
Right.
And if I know that something needs to be done, we're going to do it. So in less than 3 months, we put a pageant together where we raised almost $1,000 for a domestic violence shelter. We had 5 contestants, one of which was a straight guy who had heard about the thing and just had never done drag. He'd never put makeup or a dress on until the day he walked in.
Whoa.
We had 80
That's awesome.
people, 80 to 100, I don't remember exactly, show up to the pageant. So it was a packed house first night.
Yeah.
The winner won, and we were able to get that money, and it was like, again, it just got real. Move back here, and things begin to progress. So it's begin to grow. And I knew about 2 years ago that we needed to get serious. I was doing it out of my own bank account. It was out of my own pocket. I'm like, something needs to be done. So we incorporated, and we really tossed, were we going to just be a business? Were we going to do a nonprofit? What are we going to do? And the decision was the not-for-profit, which is, again, if you don't know anything about not-for-profit, it's scary. It's not just, it's not easy.
Yeah.
And we incorporated, and it got faster. The next pageant came along. We had 175 people attend. We had 5 contestants. And this year, our new reigning Miss Tora, who I think you guys had on the radio show even before she got her crown, won, and we had over 250 people at this pageant, 6 contestants, and we raised $2,200, I think, $2,200 for autism, for the Greater Autism Society of Greater Orlando, and it just has begun to snowball, and in an amazing way. Story time, working with Lakeland Youth Alliance, working with teens, and now progressing and starting some new stuff with us. It's just kind of built, and this character of Mama
that's the thing that I love and that I think is different and unique and that is maybe the winning strategy, right? We have often lamented on the show and elsewhere, one of the barriers to entry for us to being involved in things in the community is that we have kids.
Right.
Right? Like there's a group of queer podcasters, a network of queer podcasters, and they get together every year. It's Louisiana again this year, I think.
Yeah, I think so. New Orleans.
Yeah, and it sounds like a romping good time. Late nights, lots of drinking, lots of partying, lots of bar crawls. Like it's
what
not.
Do you do with your kids?
What do I do with my kids?
Right.
And I would love to go, and more power to you. Like there should be a space for you to do that, absolutely. But that's gonna close us out as much as we would love to be a part of it. And so I think there's a huge sector, if you will, the segment of the community that's not being served. And I think it is that youth and kids and families.
And I agree. And I think from my background, working with teens off and on most of my life, I felt, and this has always been a cliche thing is, they are our future,
Yeah.
The children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way, and it's still, but it's the truth. If we're not preparing our 5-year-olds, if we're not preparing our 15-year-olds for whatever it may be, we've done a disservice to them.
Yeah.
And it just, RuPaul has done such amazing things to make drag the forefront. Mm-hmm. And teenagers, kids watch it. But when they come to town, where do they usually go? The bars, the clubs. Yep. Locally now they're starting to do different things, but there's just been no access to these kids. And like you said, everyone has their place. So I love, and I said this to Watermark recently when I did the interview, everyone has their place.
Yep.
I love and appreciate my sisters and brothers who do drag in the bars and the clubs. I value that because if it wasn't for them, I couldn't even do what I'm doing today.
Sure,
and,
of course.
Throughout history.
Yeah.
So I value that, but somebody's got to do this. And it wasn't just Josh that told me that. It's throughout my life. Is like, if no one's going to do this, who is? If you're not going to do this, who's going to do it? So the message ultimately that Rose Dynasty and that I want to tell is that people are loved, accepted, and wanted. And we like to say that Rose Dynasty's law is love, accepted, wanted. And no matter what, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, and this really big thing that has come up with me recently is this understanding to love people where they're at.
Yes.
And I think that whole thing has been skewed because coming from a conservative background that I grew up, a religious background, the thing was always, I'm going to love you where you're at, but there's always that but. I'm not going to have a but in this.
Right.
The thing is, I'm going to love you where you're at. Your life and your journey is your life and your journey. It's not mine. I'm going to feed you. I'm going to give you. I'm going to love you. I'm going to impart into you the best thing I can. But it's up to you. And that's where I think a lot of people have to get, but that's a whole other story. But and I think I shared this with you the other night, and I laughed because when I started doing the Forefront, the first event that I did in Central Florida was actually in Winter Haven. I was a pastor of an LGBTQ plus church.
I cannot see that.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
And I did a drag dinner show.
Oh.
I did in the church, and it was controversial.
I'm sure.
But I started it, and I started it to say my slogan was spreading God's love in wigs and heels, and we laughed about this the other day, right?
Yes.
And I was like, okay, this is like falling like on deaf ears. This is like hitting the ground like a ton of bricks. This is not working for so many reasons. And I don't remember exactly where it was, but and it may have been at the pageant, the first pageant, but I was talking, and when I was talking about it, I said, the message that I want to spread more than anything is that somebody's loved, accepted, and wanted. And when I said that, like you said, you had those little goosebumps of like, this is it. I knew that is the message that I was supposed to spread. Because I know how it was to be told that I wasn't loved and accepted and wanted for who I was.
Yeah.
I wasn't loved, accepted, and wanted where I was. It was, you're loved, accepted, and wanted, but.
Yep.
And we need to get rid of the but.
Yep.
And we need to say, this is it. You're loved, accepted, and wanted. So it just, I love that you recognize that because I never want to go anywhere, do anything, and take anything from anybody. I'm not here to take something from another drag queen or another organization. If anything, I'm here to help bring unity and bring us together.
Yep.
and to provide another safe space, another atmosphere for anyone and everyone. And if you're a drag queen, if you're a drag king, if you're a performer, I'm not here to come take your gig. I don't want your gig. If you want to invite me, if you want me to do something with you, absolutely, I'm all there. I'm going to still be family friendly when I do it.
Right.
But I'll join hands with you. I'll connect you. I'll be by you. But that's not my journey.
Right.
My journey is for these kids because I want to make a difference. I want to see these kids grow up and know that even if their parents say they're not loved or they're not accepted for they are, you are, baby. You are. And don't ever forget that.
A lot of it is just like being the person that you needed when you were younger.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's why part of the reason why I've been so public with my gender transition. Because when I was a kid,
you didn't have it.
There wasn't. And the examples that there were jokes on Jerry Springer.
Yeah, and I know those
They
people
weren't
that were on
positive.
there. Most of those, they were the ones that took me under their wings when I came out. And it wasn't a positive thing. It was all a joke.
Ha ha ha, let's laugh at these freaks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think if we can all embrace that and understand, I think one of the struggles, and if I'm wrong, I'd be willing to listen to someone try to prove me wrong with it. But
You need a table. Prove me
right,
wrong.
right, exactly. Let's do this. Our community as a whole, the LGBTQ plus, wherever you fall, and I said this recently, we have to get out of this victim mentality.
Yep.
I'm not out to get you. Not everyone's out to get. Now, are there people out to get us? Absolutely.
Sure.
There are people. We know this. We see this every day. But our brothers and sisters are not out to get you. I'm not out to get you. I'm not out to take anything. If anything, I'm out to bring us together.
Yep.
We have to get out of this mindset that when people question and want to know more, it's really a lot of times it's just to know more because we don't understand. I don't understand a lot of times what my trans brothers and sisters are going through. I don't because I'm not transgendered.
Right.
And I'm never going to know unless I ask.
Right.
And we see that a lot where if people ask, sometimes we get defensive.
Yeah.
And I know I've fallen into that too.
Sure. Well, you get tired of telling the same story
Yeah.
and explaining the answers. I have a friend. I have a friend who's in who's trans who does podcasting and she's one of those like you can fucking Google kinds of people. Like, okay, to you that was a basic question that everybody should understand. Yes, and I know you've answered it a million times, but hello, we worked at Disney. And how many times do you get asked where's the nearest restroom? And you gotta
when's the 3 o'clock parade?
And you gotta answer it like it's the first time you've ever heard that question before. So maybe it's because we've had like Disney indoctrination training that I'm a little more like calm about that. But again, like yes, we can say that the responsibility is yours. You should do the research. But we don't need to be cold bitches about it. Like, take the time to educate people.
It's in my case is when people in family have asked, "Are you changing? Do you want to be a woman?" Because I get that. I still get that.
Sure. Drag confuses people.
It does.
Let's talk about that.
It really does confuse people. And I'm like, no. As a boy, my name is Jason.
Right.
That's me. This is a character. This is a persona. And even the kids know that.
Right.
I mean, we know that the 5-year-olds know that I am not biologically or identify as a female. Come on. Right. They're not stupid. I don't really sound very feminine. Yep. I don't. So I get that. And I like what you said. I think part of it is we're indoctrinated with that, maybe because I work with kids and they do ask the same question 20 times.
Yes, right.
That's true.
They do.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, okay, so are we going to be a cold-hearted pain in the butt?
Right.
Or are we going to just be like, maybe I can't answer that. You should try Google it. I don't know how you say it.
Right.
But I also understand growing up in a very conservative home that my first response for a long time was to act out of a victim.
Yeah.
It was to act if someone who is a Christian or a believer starts to question things, my first response was to be like, you're just attacking me. But it's not always that way. And I want so hard and so bad to be able to get people to understand that.
Yeah.
Because we do it to ourselves too. We do it in our own community.
Oh yeah.
How we got on that rabbit trail.
I try to think like put myself back in that mindset of being in the closet about all of this. If I were to ask someone a question in that state, it might come off that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you kind of think of it as, well, the person asking me there may be something else going on that they're genuinely trying to understand.
You don't want to stunt that growth.
And you
will stunt it.
Right.
You will.
Yeah.
Because what their persona and their the way they see it is going to be like everyone who's trans or everyone who's gay or everyone who's a drag queen are mean, nasty people.
Yeah. Well, and it might be them personally. They might have a family member or a friend that they're trying to understand without going to them because it can be awkward.
Right.
You know, I think that like Sarah and I, we're pretty much like, we're an open book.
Yeah.
Ask because of that. Because you can't always go to that person that you know and ask those deeply personal questions because you're like, it's just scary.
Yeah.
We had our first Adopt a Road cleanup this morning for our nonprofit, and one of the people showed up late, and so when Becca dropped her off with our group, she came up and said, "I'm just going to say this one thing, and then we don't have to talk about it again. I'm just so proud of your family, and I love your story, and right." And I was like, "Oh, that doesn't have to be the end of it. Like, I'm an open book. I'm happy to talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'll tell you the whole damn story if you want to hear it. You know, like, I'm cool with that. This doesn't have to be like a hush.
Right.
Okay, now we can go clean. Like, and we spent the whole time talking about life and failed attempts at college and
you'd be surprised that response that you gave her, how it changed her.
Yeah.
I'm sure it did. Because they probably feel comfortable.
Yeah. Sure.
It's a hard thing because we as humans, we react differently. We have bad days. I deal with the public my whole 24/7.
Yeah.
And you see people that maybe explode or go off on something, and a lot of times it's not even that you personally, it's something that they're going through. And I know, and I remember that, like saying earlier, I remember those times, going through ex-gay therapy, going through all that stuff that I went through. Which is a whole other topic.
Yes. Let me write that one down.
I remember.
We're gonna have to have Jason back on the show.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Jason would love to share that story. But I remember it was so hard because when someone would come with me with scriptures or opinions or whatever, I had to be like, okay, back up, Jason, just stop right now. Where are they coming from?
Yep.
Yeah.
Understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
I understand that those people in my life meant me no harm.
Yeah.
They actually didn't. They did what they thought they knew was right.
Came from a good place.
It came from a good place.
Yep.
So, and I tell this all the time, and I told this to a client today. Life gives you a 2x4, and you have a choice. You can beat yourself up, you can beat somebody else up, or you can take that and build it as a step or build a bridge to get over it. And I know it's easier said than done, but what we need to do is take these bricks or these stones or these boards or whatever life gives you and place them properly as a next step in your journey to move you to another place.
Yep.
Because if you stand there beating yourself up or beat somebody else up, you've wasted time. And it's so easy to do. It's just human nature.
Yeah.
And this is, we can talk about that all the time. So, yes. And
assume good intent.
Assume good intent. Exactly.
Yeah.
Do I assume good intent all the time? Oh, no.
No,
I don't. I believe me.
No, and once you've given me a reason to understand that your intent is not good, look out.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. You did say something. You pointed something out about drag. So misunderstood. So, or I think that was the term. Did you use that? Or confusing?
Yeah, a lot of people are confused.
So I don't think I have I know I don't have all the answers. So.
No. You are the representative for all of them.
Yeah, so I am. Well, let's not even go there because I can see it now on YouTube. That clip
oh my gosh,
of Momma Ashley Rose saying, "I am." Yeah. I can't even right now. So I think I was sharing with you earlier. So when I finally came out and had visited some clubs in Tampa, some of the people who took me under their wings were transgender drag queens. And I like to personally think of them as bio queens because if you consider yourself transgender, I see you as what you identify.
Right.
You're female. So if you're female dressing up with extra makeup and hair, you're a bio queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I feel. And some people agree with me. Some
I was going to say,
don't.
I feel like I've heard some kerfuffle in the community over.
And it does.
Sorts
It's
of language.
it's such a thing. And is it the right answer? I don't know. Do I have a problem with cis bio queens and trans bio queens? Absolutely not. Because if you look at history, what theater? First of all, who was only allowed in the theater for history? Men, males.
Right.
and males did male and female parts.
Yep.
Mhm.
Always.
Yep.
So historically, this is normal in theater. And I don't know where it got misconstrued and whatever, but I know in the probably the 70s through maybe mid 90s, early 2000s, for my trans sisters, drag and escorting and that type of stuff was really the only way they could work.
Mhm.
We've come so far now where you can get a job
Right.
and be
Yeah.
transgendered, and then they couldn't. And I remember losing some amazing people. Through whether it was drug addiction to, obviously AIDS, to being murdered for finding out who they were.
Yep.
And I remember that they took me in and they taught me a lot. The first time I was ever done in drag was painted by my friend. And I remember looking back at that and I was like, I can never say anything about that. Because when we look at drag and you look at the definition, it does say in the Webster's Dictionary, if I'm not mistaken, I was reading it the other day, it says, it usually is, or it uses the term like that, male dressing up as female entertaining. And that is part of it. We have drag king and we have all that. So for me, it's it's a persona.
Right.
And luckily for me, I think, and anybody that knows me, whether I'm Jason or Mama, I'm still Mama. I really am.
Yeah.
And we can talk about how the name came about later, but it was like, okay, I'm always this. And then some people have the drag persona where this is them.
Very different.
And this is them.
Like this is and in a lot of ways there's a lot of performance art.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And so if it's like this is a character, this is a person that I get to be that I don't normally get to be. I can be whatever this new character that I've created.
Absolutely.
That's wild and funky and crazy and yeah.
And drag,
it's free.
It's art.
It's very free.
It's freeing in art.
Yeah.
So this is my thing, and I tell the kids that I work with, that I call my drag kids, I'm not here to make a little mama, because that'd be boring if they were all little mamas. I'm going to teach you what I know, and I want you to go out and learn other stuff, and you're going to create your own art.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you tips. Heck, I mean, Alexa Rose painted my face, I'm like, they did on Sunday, and it was like, okay, I'm allowing that for them to grow, and it's like being a mama, I want them to learn, I want them to grow, and I never want to be that person to look at you and be like, your drag's not good enough, and it happens.
Yeah.
And I think it's just entertainment, because we know in actors and musicians it's like, your music's not music enough for me,
right.
Your acting's not acting,
right.
It's just the industry. But I never, I mean, there are some people that kind of can maybe look a little busted sometimes, and that's okay. I looked busted when I first started doing drag. I looked like a third grade librarian with one eyebrow across my face.
Oh no!
And didn't wear lashes. And
Cut to the screen. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
There's no
I
pictures.
should have brought that picture. There are pictures on Facebook somewhere. If you go on Mama's Facebook, you'll probably see them somewhere. I looked really tragic. In my little hippie skirts and t-shirts, it was great. Not even shave my arms. So it's art is it the word conceptual, or art is perception? I don't know the word, what I'm trying to say. It's like everyone sees art in their own way.
Yeah.
So what I look at right here, if this is a drawing, I'm going to see one thing, you're going to see another, you're going to see another.
Sure.
You may like it. I may think, wow, my 5-year-old could do better. Yeah. And you're like, oh, I see this.
Oh, my 5-year-old did draw that.
Right, exactly, right? And bam, So, I think what I was getting with that is it's all an art form, and I think if anything, things become competitive, and I try not to be that way. I mean, I do find myself looking like, oh, why did you do your face like that? But I think it, and sometimes we kind of get a little jokingly, but I don't ever want anybody to feel that way. I don't want them to feel inferior, because their drag is different. And everybody I worked with in the last 15 to 18 years of doing drag are all different. We had Club Kids. We were talking about this earlier, and Club Kid, that whole androgynous look is coming back again. It's mixing with drag, and I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, because this is your art. That'd be like you being an artist and painting a painting and be like, that's not good enough.
Right.
Because I may not think it's good enough, but you may think it's amazing, and you'll pay $1,000 for it.
Right.
Well, and I think too, going back to like art in general is a self-expression. So you can't be wrong for, even though it's a persona for most people, it's still a self-expression. Exactly. So that's what it comes down to. My
self-expression as Mama is I'm a Southern Mama who just loves to love people. I love it. Like, I loved sitting in that chair, and the one little girl, she like, no, I didn't want to stand by you. I want to climb in your lap. And I was just like, oh, like, it's the only picture of this child. Well, the little child sitting in my lap, and I'm like, I'm living for this because why? Because obviously this child knows.
Yep.
Kids are they're
know.
smart.
Oh,
they
yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah.
They feel safe, and they feel that love and acceptance. So that's just more than anything. I think, like you said, maybe I don't want to say I didn't get it at home or growing up because my parents were amazing. I have amazing mother and father and a stepfather who loved me. Yeah. My dad is phenomenal. My mom is phenomenal. But, you know, we had skewed visions and ideas of life, and people, like we said, those things I went through with therapy and this and that was just they didn't know any better. So I want to train our kids up to know better.
Yeah.
You know, to know better, and I loved it. And it's another side rabbit trail. I'm sorry, I talk.
No,
I told you.
Go.
You get me started. I loved it. And what did you remember on Sunday? What one of the biggest things that kept coming up with the kids, and I think some of us were talking about it, bullying.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, and 6-year-olds talking about bullying. It crushed my heart, and it really was like, these kids need to know what to do. This is a thing. And I heard someone recently say that, oh, bullying is just taken out of context. And we were all bullied. I was.
And it doesn't make it okay.
It sucks.
It doesn't make it
I was thrown
okay.
in a locker at 6th grade and locked in a wooden locker.
Right, yeah.
If you didn't know that, Mom, and you're listening, it happened at a Christian school. You know, it was like, I know what bullying was. I know. I mean, I remember being 16 in East Tennessee, graduated high school up there, and death threats on my car, and I wasn't even out. So I know that. I know how it feels. So it really kind of struck with me of like, okay, this is something that this generation is crying for.
You know, there's a thing in there though too that I think is a sign of maybe a healthier society growing. Right? So you think about my parents, and I liken this to the story that my dad tried to tell me to get me to quit smoking, which was just crumple it up and throw it in the garbage and quit. That's how I did it. Well, great. I'm glad that worked for you. That doesn't work for everybody.
No, it doesn't.
And so in the same way, somebody teased me. Well, I'm just going to brush that off and that's not going to bother me, and I'm going to just go on with my life. That may have worked for you in 1943.
Yeah. It may have worked for you in 2015.
But I would argue, did it really? And I think now that we're seeing kids recognize, no, I don't like to feel this way, and I want it to stop, is huge growth from where we were even just a couple generations ago.
I've had adults in the last several years come to me, cry, and apologize to me because, you know, here they are 50, 60 years old for bullying gay people when they were kids.
Yeah.
And for me, it was an honor. You know, at first I'm like, why are you apologizing? But I'm thinking this is the only connection they have.
Yeah.
You know, so they didn't know any better.
Yep.
They didn't. And this could go on a whole nother rabbit trail. But yeah, they didn't. So we know what someone taught us, and someone had taught them, and right? Have a drink. It's okay. You got that? I've got my sweet tea that I'm almost done.
I'll drink for both of us.
Thank you, Mama Bear, for my little my 64 ounce of. Normally it's water, but I filled it with sweet tea today. I need some caffeine.
I hear you.
Yeah, got my sweet tea.
I've got my Mountain Dew.
Your Dew over there. Yeah.
You were going somewhere,
so
you were gonna make it. You lose it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
I don't even.
Yeah. I just. Yeah, we totally lost her. We got sidetracked. Thanks for bringing the whiskey or the rum out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think the kids, it was great because they recognize it. No, this is wrong. This is not acceptable.
Right.
And what do I do? And you know, I remember Sunday sitting there like in my head going, holy crap, this 6-year-old is telling me that they're bullied and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And then some of the others spoke up and said, tell a teacher, tell an. I was like, oh, so here we go. How important is it, the open dialogue, the communication about it?
Yep.
So very, very good.
And I think like if you've never been to one of these I don't know that they all go this way, but I hope that they do. And something that I took away from it was it's so much more than let's get together at the library or wherever and read some stories, right? Let's get together and read stories is the, I don't know what the word I want to use. It's the carrot on the stick to get you in the door to have. I didn't want to call it that. to have a deeper, more meaningful interaction about other things too.
You know, I spent on that note. I spent a lot of time watching videos and researching story times. So there is a basic structure, which is kind of what we did. But I think they've just all been different. I mean, I've seen them where they touched on bullying, and I've seen them where they've touched on this, and
it's like any other comedic performance. Like you have to work your audience too. Like what the kids are going to bring stuff in, and that's gotta be so fun.
Those
because
kids were hilarious.
Kids are just all over the map, and you never know what's coming out of their mouth.
It didn't help that Shoe Dog, and I thank you so much, Brian, for those amazing treats.
Got them all jacked up on sugar.
Woo, they were jacked up on sugar and cotton candy, or not cotton candy, and popcorn.
Yeah,
cotton candy was in my head. That's what I wanted.
There was a bowl of gumballs, people.
Yeah, well, and
that's important.
Well, I know, but it was important.
Which kind of leads to this.
Yeah.
So what was amazing is I wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I'm going to be different, if Rose Dynasty is going to be different, how can we? I don't want to. I'm gonna say it. How can we up this game?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, you get plus it.
How can I plus it? How can I bring something else to the table that's not happening? And I'm racking my brain, and as silly as it sounds, I was watching Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
And I love Mrs. Doubtfire so much. And back in my Disney days as a boy, everyone always called me Robin because they said I had the feature. One day I'm going to pull a Mrs. Doubtfire out. One day.
Oh, yeah. That would be so good.
I can
It'd be so amazing.
Yeah.
So at the end of the show, I still cry. At the end of the show, she has the puppets. And I'm like, why are we not doing this?
Yeah.
Nobody's done this. I can't find, there's no video, no pictures anywhere of puppets. So immediately I thought of my friend Dave. Dave is a drag queen, Craven, but he's a puppeteer, he's a clown, hilarious. And I call immediately.
Wickedly talented.
Amazing.
Insanely talented.
What in the, where is he been hiding talented?
Right. It's Dave's time.
Yeah.
So I called. I was like, "This is what I need. This is what I want to do." And within minutes, well, first of all, he's like, "Oh, I'll draw you something. We'll
here's
talk
some
about
sketches." Right.
Oh no. In minutes, I got a picture, and I was like, "That's it." He designed our new little friend Bubble.
I love
Bubble Gum.
Let me pull up the Watermark article here, and
I love
so great. Oh my God! Thank you so much, Watermark, for making this happen. Like right before it was, again, the timing was impeccable, and I'm, featured in this article with so many amazing. So that is our little friend Bubble, and we kept them secret for a while. Purposely, because I was like, I'm not letting this get out until we can do this, right?
Yeah.
So Dave made Bubble by hand,
which just blew my mind.
And made them
like when we talked about how cool a thing that was to have, just as a feature of the show. I was like, that's great. It's like Sesame Street for the rest of us, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then you were like, and it's handmade. And I was like, oh, shit. Okay, I quit. I'm done. That's so insane.
And I got to see the progress. And I'm just like, and like you can ask all of my friends on the board. I'm just like, I'm like, trying not to tell everybody. And it was amazing. So he spent the time to do it. So Bubble... you can find Bubble has Facebook now.
Yeah.
So it's Bub Gum.
Yep.
And you'll see the picture of Bubble and myself. Bub is a gender fluid. They go by them, they, theirs, or Bubble, which was a great learning thing because I'm horrible sometimes when it comes to the they, them, their. It's what it is.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
So we opened up and immediately I called them he. So it was like, here's a learning experience. And I had already known I was going to probably do it, so I had already planned this. We're going to do this as a learning experience, and I got to talk to the kids about pronouns.
Yes,
it was amazing.
That was
and it was so cool. They were just like, and I'm sure some of them had no clue, but it already planted the seed of prepping for that.
Yep.
So it was such a great little twist to it that I'm like, we own this. Like this is amazing, and Dave is so talented. There's a lot more that we're going to do. We want to listen, and this is a plug. Whatever, I've already talked. Prides, events, like let's book this. Let's have Bubble and Mama come out and do something because the kids ate it up.
Oh yeah.
Well, and
they loved it.
You think about the parents that brought their kids to something like that, right? So you know that they're open-minded. And I'll tell we were in the car on the way home. We had an hour drive home.
Probably.
No, it was like
40
minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
So we talked because our kid is like that, and we talked about the they them, and Bubble, and it was so funny because he said, "Wait, is Bubble from Sesame Street?" So that was
and we were like, should be.
Should be. I don't know why Sesame
right.
Street doesn't have a gender fluid puppet yet.
Stop slacking.
Tough. We got it first.
They just now got a
Like-
puppet with autism. Calm
Yeah,
down.
so
I know.
listen,
There's
thank
flow
you,
to
Dave
the-
Ryan. We got this first.
Yeah.
Rose Dynasty has it
Yes.
first.
So
That
that
is
was like
amazing.
an awesome moment for us because it was like
Mhm.
he really connected with it. He got it.
Yeah.
He understood it, and he understood like that's talented. Because then we talked about how Bubble was handmade,
Right.
and, you know.
Right.
So
That's so awesome to hear. And then we debated on for photo time to bring Bubble out or not.
Yeah.
But puppeteering now is becoming, with Avenue Q and several others. You know, at Disney, you have The Lion
Yep.
King and you have Nemo,
Nemo,
and all those
yeah.
others that you see the puppeteer.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was amazing. So we brought Dave out, and Megan, one of our kids,
Those
got to-
pictures
they were so amazing,
were
right?
so cute. They were so good.
And Megan had
Yeah.
never done anything like this before, and it was really cool to see how that started to happen. But I was like, it's a great, again, a learning experience for
Yeah.
the kids
Mhm.
because, again, they all knew there was somebody.
Sure. Oh, of course.
Well,
Well,
they all were.
between-
A lot of
They
them
were
were
trying
saying,
to
between
look.
the bigger kids trying to
Yeah.
peek behind
Yeah.
the, there's somebody back there.
There's somebody back there. Yeah, it's Bubble. So it was just such an amazing experience. So we brought Bubble out with the photos, and you guys can see it on the website or on our Facebook.
Yeah.
The photos were amazing, and that we were able to come out and they were able to hug Bubble, and
Yeah.
it just, they didn't see Dave and Megan. They saw Bubble.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanted. We wanted them to see Bubble. We wanted them to see Mom and
That's a
experience that.
testament to his craftsmanship too.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
God, amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
it was gorgeous and beautiful puppet.
Y'all,
I mean,
phenomenal. And they've made other puppets. I think at our pageant this year, I didn't get to see much because I was running around, but I think that was one of their talents. They were in drag and did puppeteering
okay.
too.
That's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Phenomenal. So yeah, Dave, I'm so proud and so honored to have them part of that. Big things are coming. I really think they are. I feel like I have just rambled. And do we have people watching and asking questions? Because I know we have lots that we're going to ask questions.
We do have a few people watching.
Okay.
Nobody has asked questions yet, but if you do
Hi.
have questions, let us know.
I've like pretty much dominated. I'm like,
That's good.
That's why we brought you on. See, listen, let me pull back the curtain in the studio and say
That's
when
a
we
wall.
have guests on, yeah, that's a wall. When we have guests on, I have to do less work. So
and when
Oh,
we
I
have
love
chatty
that.
guests on, she has to do
Yes,
even less
less
work.
I really don't talk that much.
You
It's everyone.
so
you
let's talk about
talk about the things you're passionate about.
I do.
right.
I do.
Let's take a step back then and
Okay.
go back to we were sort of talking about there is we want to get into the story about drag names,
Yes.
but there is sort of in drag culture this sort of parent-child relationship,
Yeah.
and that I think is really neat, that someone takes you under wing and helps
Right.
you get into
Your
learning
character.
all the things that you need to learn
Yeah.
and helping you find who you are in that space. And then someday down the road, you'll find yourself doing that for someone else.
Yeah.
And I think that, if anything, speaks to like all the best things about it.
Mhm.
I think it's that. I think
Yeah.
that's awesome.
It's amazing. So I had several drag performers influence me. I didn't necessarily have a drag mother,
Mm-hmm.
so there was no. I'm the first Rose. I'm the first Momma Rose. Momma Ashley Rose. But so many influenced me. Divinity Everlasting, and I'll call their names out. Kelly Anderson, who was a big part of my life. Jasmine Ty, who unfortunately we lost. Lord, I could just go on. There were so many that had such an influence in my life and kind of taught me some things.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of had to do it myself, which is fine because I'm doing something that's never been done.
Yeah.
And, going to that drag of, drag queens will do family-friendly stuff, but they go back to what they do, which is great.
Mhm.
But I don't know of any or very few out there that literally their life is 100% family-friendly.
Right.
So with that thing, we have the term drag mom, drag
Yep.
mother.
Yep.
And I've been lucky to have kids that I've been able to mentor, and even adults. I don't know it all in drag, and I learn every day. I mean, I have great makeup artists, Summer Holiday and even Craven and several others who I've learned from and take, and that's why I tell the drag kids, I'm like, listen, I'm going to teach you what I know. You need to get on YouTube. You need to find other people.
Keep learning.
Pull what you can and create.
Yep.
I mean, and I'm going to tell you, and I know for a fact that there's not many drag mothers out there that would let their drag child who is new, less than a year doing makeup, allow them to paint their face before they go on a camera. It just doesn't happen. And I'm not saying that to. I am saying that to brag because to brag.
I was gonna say I feel some kind of way.
I do. I'm like I can say that, and even if they didn't do anything perfect, which they did because I didn't have to do anything, it was amazing. It was a learning experience, and they're never going to learn unless you let them do it. That's another reason. So okay, here we have drag. So back in the day, go ahead.
And are you and what's the purpose? What's the intent? Are you doing this because it's a fun thing for you to do? Are you doing it because you want to be perfect every time?
No.
And if it's that, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like if it's, I can't go on stage unless there's a level of perfection that I have to, threshold that I have to meet. I think there's a lot of value in learning that, like, hey, you're going to go out there sometimes and it's not going to be perfect.
Your lipstick's
and it's
smear,
okay.
Your eyes are going to be...
And you'll learn from it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It'll be fine.
It's not the end of the world. So, obviously now where we're going with the foundation and the face of Momma, I have to have standards. I have to have something, some continuity. But I mean, I'm keep bragging. I mean, they're 15 and they beat this face pretty good today. I have to say,
there you go.
And so as far as the drag kids and
better
the drag
than I
family,
can do. That's for damn sure.
So as far as the family, it creates a family, and it does. And what's great is I have teens, I have kids, I have kids that are of all ages that follow us and I want to mentor, and I'm giving them that safe space. So when we do events, we have an event coming up that we'll talk about. Tora's event that's coming up. Tora and I were like, the kids are performing. Kids of all ages are performing. In any of our shows, I try to include them and give them the opportunity. We did an event a couple months ago at Florida Southern College and was raising money for them, and it was really funny. It ended up being mostly Rose Dynasty teens. Great. It was a safe atmosphere. They were able to get on stage and perform and do it.
Yep.
I want to continue to provide a safe space, a safe atmosphere. Right now, we don't have necessarily a physical building of our own yet, but where we go and what we do, we want to keep that safe space. So that family is so important.
Yeah.
I mean, most of them have families of their own, but also it gives them a family outside of the family because we know that, again, there's something that I can offer that maybe somebody else can't.
Yeah. And again, there's definitely a space that has a need for that family-friendly environment.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Everybody loves a drag queen that's going to be dirty and talking dirty. I mean, that's just what happens, you know?
Right.
But what's really funny is I find myself, we were talking about this the other day with a friend, I was seeing a drag queen started getting pretty raunchy, and I felt myself clutching my pearls. Like, and I'm looking around, I'm like, are there kids? Like, you stay, as parents, you have that mentality. You say, and I'm like,
oh, wait a minute.
Oh, there's
we
no
don't. Our kid curse is worse than we do sometimes.
But I find myself
know
doing that. Yeah.
But,
everybody has their place. I love it. So I could just keep talking. I love this.
But to that point though, you can find a raunchy drag queen in any drag show you want to walk into.
You can probably walk down your street and find 3 of them.
I think that's like the appeal with what you're doing is that you don't find this everywhere. It's harder to, so it makes it that much more special.
And when you have youth who are trying to enter this performance space and put themselves out there and be who they are and learn and grow, what sort of environment are we providing them? Now, a good one.
Right. Yeah, I know exactly, because I remember what was on the dressing room tables and chairs and what was happening in the bathrooms and the dressing room. And, I unfortunately, the drugs and stuff was rampant, and the sex and everything. It was a dangerous scene. And I don't want my kids to have to deal with that. I remember one of my best friends, the first time we had done a show in a local bar, helped them do something. It was a Studio 54 party, which was of all things. And I took them in, and they had never really been in the gay scene. And then here we go, stuff's happening, and we had to leave. Like, I was helping do the show, and I'm like, I can't stay.
I can't be here.
Yeah.
I can't be here. Again, it's your life, it's your body, it's your choice. First of all, I'm not going to be here, and if we get raided, and I'm not getting arrested for stuff you're doing that I ain't doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So again, your life, your journey, but it's okay. We can wave as we pass.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
I do have a question from the chat.
Oh, good.
Actually, on topic, so let's get this out of here. Daniel wants to know, do you ever have kids whose parents are reluctant for them to get involved in the drag community, and how do you navigate that?
Have I? Yes, actually I have. I always want to respect, dealing with teens and youth is it's not like dealing with adults. I always want to respect parents, whether they're right or wrong. So it's kind of a rocky situation. You have to find that balance. First and foremost, I want the kids safe.
Yeah.
We need to assess, why are the parents not agreeing with this? What's the deal? And then provide open dialogue. Because I know I still get it. You're a drag queen and you want to be around kids. My kids can't be around you. What? So explaining to them, and usually, sometimes I understand why. I don't want to be around some drag queens either. I get it. I understand. I don't want to be around myself sometimes. Listen, I'm all sweaty and nasty after it's over. Listen, I don't want to be around myself. But no, it's a fine line, and the open dialogue is what's important. Yeah. Kid safety, but the dialogue with the parents, and most of the time the parents either come around or they look for more information and more support. Yeah. So example, if I had a kid who was, and the parents were iffy about it because they weren't sure if I was safe, if I was safe enough for their kids to be around. Yep. So then we address it, we talk about it, we dialogue it. Yeah. Or if they're not doing it for religious reasons or whatever, then we start that dialogue. Yep. Knock on wood, for the most part, 99% of them, we have been very lucky. The parents, if anything, the parents have come around and said, "Oh my God, you've helped me understand. You've helped me understand my kid's okay. You've helped me understand that my kid wants to be an entertainer, whatever." Yep. So we've been very fortunate. But I think the first and foremost is the safety of the kid, dialoguing with the parents, and then we go from there. Yeah. If it becomes an issue where the kid's not safe, then that's a whole other journey that you have to play out. Because I never ever want a parent to think I'm undermining them, or because then that's a dangerous place too.
Oh yeah.
But that's the keys. I think we would have to focus on that. We've been very fortunate. Yeah. So good question.
That's all I got for now.
Mandy.
Did you say something? Oh yeah.
Mandy had asked, "Who are your idols? Who inspires you?"
My inspiration, Lee's over there laughing. Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't really remember how it all came about, but I just remember I just one day loved Dolly Parton. I remember as a kid, everybody made fun of her. We know why, right? Everyone talked about the boobs. That was all they're fake, everything. Yeah, that's what everybody talked about. But when I really learned who she was and where she came from and what she does, listen, if you don't know, you need to take some time to research. This woman has made something of herself. She has this given talent that has changed the world. She's, from a poor town in a cabin in the Smoky Mountains, and has built this industry and has created a huge industry in East Tennessee. And if you don't know, this is where I take all my friends. Like, we're going. This is where we're going. We're going to Dollywood. We're doing that.
I want to go again so bad. I haven't been since I was a kid. I want to wait until our little one's a little bit older, and it's going to be
every year. In fact,
vacation.
I'm always in East Tennessee. East Tennessee is my place to go.
Now, do you rent a cabin or do you get a hotel?
We rent a cabin all the way. Yeah. When you're ready to go, listen.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That would be the best trip ever.
That would be.
Listen, let me tell you. So she gives back and does so much. Her phrase is, when you see someone else smile, I want to give them mine. Yeah. She teaches love. She teaches acceptance. Mm-hmm. She's taken a town that, was virtually destroyed by fire and raised millions of dollars for people. Did she have to? No, she don't have to, because she did this herself. Mm-hmm. I had the chance to meet her 3 times.
My God.
So, and I always tell this story, and I think this is maybe a pivotal point subconsciously, I don't know. So remember they had Dixie Stampede. I don't know if you lived here. Remember Dixie Stampede opened?
Oh yeah.
I got to be part of the opening cast in the bar. I was a bartender. So the manager at the time had met Dolly and told her about me, and so we all got to meet her. We all had to go up in groups of 6 or 7, and her PR people were like, "Don't talk to her unless she talks to you, because she doesn't shut up." She's like, "Hey, I got maybe I don't know what's happening here. Maybe I'm a Disney child. I don't know."
Channeling.
Right, I'm channeling Dolly. And they said, because she won't. So I remember when I walked on stage and she looked at me, ignored everybody, looked at me and said, "Baby, you are beautiful, and don't let anybody ever tell you different." And I had met many celebrities working at Disney, and I was in heaven. And I remember just like, and I don't get dumbfounded too often. So we took the picture, and then during the pre-show, remember they had a wonderful. Do you remember the show here?
No.
During the pre-show, they're happening, and all of a sudden she interrupts. She comes out with her guitar in her back, and she interrupts, and she's like, I figured I own the place. I'll just interrupt. And she's like, "I'm gonna sing a little song for somebody over there," and she sang my favorite song, "Coat of Many Colors," which is the book that I read. She sang that for me, and I loved it because she forgot words, and I got to scream from the bar, and I just remember I was so emotional. Several years later, I got to meet her again, and she called me by name.
Wow.
Yeah, so every time I got to meet her, it was so inspirational because she remembered. And I want to always try to do that. Not that I may be as famous as her one day, I may not. I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter, but I want to make that impact. I want to say, okay, and if I don't remember, I want to be like, give me something to remember.
Right.
And then try to remember a key
I know
point.
you.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So she's definitely been an inspiration. She's an entertainer. She's a businesswoman.
Yeah.
She is a fighter, and is amazing. So she is definitely a big, like, right there. Like, she is if I had an idol, Dolly Parton is my idol. And I hope one day that she'll hear about Rose Dynasty. I've been trying. I've been plugging her and telling people that know her, like, listen, y'all need to tell her.
Send some emails.
Yeah, let's do this. And then that's why reading the stories from the Imagination Library that she has, I wanted to do that, to give back too, because she did start the Imagination Library because of literacy. Her father was illiterate, and she wanted to make sure that everyone had a chance to read. So yeah, long story short, that's my idol, or short story long.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
So this is something we have in common. I love Dolly Parton. Funny story, the very first karaoke song I ever sang was a Dolly Parton song in like 2nd grade at a talent show.
Yes. Which one?
Silver and Gold.
Silver and Gold. Oh my goodness, that's great. As long as it wasn't Rhinestone Cowboy.
No, I didn't crush it. I actually choked, but
that's okay.
That's okay.
You were that's amazing.
Right?
I just don't, before that point of meeting her, I don't remember what it was. I know one of my childhood best friends was obsessed with her, but it was it changed my life.
Did you ever see the movie Dumplin'?
Yeah.
I watched that with our son a few weeks ago.
Our sister Minge is in it. Yes,
I loved it.
Tori's drag mom.
I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. I just watched it a few weeks ago. Oh my god, wow,
oh my god,
where has this been all my life?
It's amazing. I have that soundtrack on my playlist.
That's awesome.
It's either that Trolls or 21 Pilots. Yeah, Trolls. The Trolls soundtrack. 21 Pilots or something else. Like, I have such a weird variety of tastes.
It's okay.
On there,
It sounds familiar.
Sorry. It's the child in me.
Mandy's next question was, if you could have dinner with somebody, dead or alive, who would it be? Dolly Parton?
Dolly Parton.
I mean, Mandy, you didn't know. Ding, next. Yeah, definitely Dolly Parton.
Okay, so let's do this. Tell us about some of the things that you have coming up, and then we'll take a break.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
And then we'll come back and
Awesome.
talk about some other stuff.
Oh my goodness, so we have a lot coming up. So help me
Didn't mean
remember.
to pour my drink right
That's
in front of
great.
the microphone, but that was
in front of the microwave.
Great.
You're just
I'm
drinking Mountain Dew.
I am not even drinking alcohol. This is just a pure caffeine sugar rush.
And you're not on
Yes,
camera, so
her.
nobody has to take
Right.
nobody has
She's
any
not even drinking. She
evidence.
This is funny. All right, so
That was a sound effect.
Yeah,
it wasn't even Becca opening a soda.
It was yeah.
It wasn't real. It wasn't real. That's great.
Oh God.
All right, so I got to get in my head. So,
back to work, Mama.
Back to work.
Work it, girl.
Work. Yes.
Working 9 to 5.
Yeah. I'm sorry. So, side note. So, it was so funny. So, we did this sing along for Coat of Many Colors on Sunday, and them poor kids, they were looking at me like, why is she having us sing this song? We don't know this song. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, we just read the book to you. Why don't you not know the words?
I was so
though.
mad because I missed that because our little one had to go potty and it was waiting.
It's okay.
For the
I was
bathroom.
just singing. I
would have been singing with you.
And then, at least we had a dance party at the end. That was good. So anyway, events. So Rose Dynasty has decided that we are going to start youth gatherings. I hate the term youth group, but it really kind of is.
Right.
So on August, I need this. Thank you so much because my brain is in 700 places. So August 3rd, we're starting a LGBTQ plus ally teenager group for ages 13 to 20. It'll be at Venue Salon, which is where we did the my boss Patricia at Venue Salon is such an amazing partner, letting us use the facility. So we're going to start a 13 to 20 group on a Saturday.
You're going to outgrow that so fast, though.
I think we are. So when the person walks up to us and gives us a building that we need, we'll be ready for that.
I so wish we had a building.
I know,
it's going to happen. I'm telling you, it's got to.
I've got a huge backyard, but
I know,
it's
I do
outside.
too. Yeah. Like we have a huge backyard. So on August 3rd from 7 to 9, we are doing the first youth group meeting. Cool. So we do have LY, Lakeland Youth Alliance, in Lakeland, which is a great opportunity, too, on Wednesdays. I think it's the third Wednesdays of each month. We want to give another chance, another opportunity.
Sure.
What we're going to be doing
the more the merrier.
The more the merrier, right?
Yeah.
These teens need stuff to do. So we're going to be doing that, and the direction really is going to be we're going to get together on the first night on this day, and we're going to kind of figure out what the teens want to do.
Yeah.
I could write up and do all kinds of things, but if it's not what
they
want to do, they're not going to come, and they're going to look at me like, why are you trying to do this?
Right.
So some icebreakers, some stuff. We want to do, outings, and we've got some ideas of, like, even doing some educational stuff, some skincare stuff, some makeup classes, painting. We got a lot of ideas. Yeah. So we're going to be doing that. And then, I'm so excited, on August 4th, that Sunday, from 2 to 4, we're going to have our youth group from ages 12 and under.
Nice.
So we're starting a get-together for ages 12 and under.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how we're going to work that. We're going to see how many people come. Because the 12 and under is such an odd, it really could be split. That like 9 to 12 and whatever. Right. But for now, we're going to just see who we get. Yeah. We're asking the parents to come and stay. It's not a daycare.
Yes. No.
It's not a daycare. Yes. And what we're doing
is they need to be involved.
They do. They really do. They need to be involved. It's not a daycare. Not a daycare. But it's a time, and it's going to be a great time for parents to get to know each other. Yeah, because I'm sure you as parents, as LGBTQ plus parents,
daycare.
Would you say not a daycare?
Drag queen daycare.
Yeah. And Mama is Jason will be there. I'm not doing drag for these things. But we just want to do that. Whether we're gonna kind of streamline it and see what happens, and if we have to break it up to 2 different age groups, we're gonna kind of see where we're gonna go with that. If it's crafts and just some different things, just something to do to give them, because there's nothing that I know of in the state of Florida. Yeah. I can't find anything, at least in Central Florida, for that age group.
Yep.
It's hard. It's hard. Because we try to do activities during the summer with our son, and it's just there's like maybe 3 different options, and it's all like what last year he did a ceramics class. Woohoo, that's fun.
What 8-year-old?
Yeah, I mean he enjoyed it.
He did
because he's an artsy kid.
He did, but he came home with like 35 ceramics that now are sitting on his shelf because they're not anything that he actually wants.
And
on
it wasn't
wall.
like things that you make. It was like, here is a football-shaped ceramic. Now paint it.
Yeah. And my creative child,
he enjoyed it.
He did. There was a few that he really got into, but
the football helmet
soccer,
was funny.
The football helmet was hilarious. He painted it because he thought it was a duck. It's upside down. He painted it the color of it. I'll have to show it to you after.
I live for this.
But
what a creative kid.
We're not a sportsy family.
No,
so
and
he
then
didn't
the
know what the
soccer
hell
ball,
it was.
the soccer ball, it was all black. Just one color,
black.
And I'm like,
I've probably done the same thing.
But he enjoyed it. He had a good time. But
he made friends. He made friends.
Yes.
That was the part of it.
And I think that's a key because we work with a lot of families. So a lot of the families with Rose Dynasty are homeschooled also. So I mean they do a lot of outings. They stay busier than I do. But I want to have that place because so many people have asked. I remember talking to people and asking, and no one can do it. No one was doing it. So we're gonna try this. My famous thing lately is like I'm gonna ride this wave. Let's just see what happens.
Yep.
If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So that's coming up. I'm really excited about that. All this stuff you can find on our website, and we'll talk about that later, or our Facebook, and so on. And then August 20. What do I say? Oh, August 11th. I don't have it on the calendar yet. I might as well just announce it. Our next story time.
Ooh, yay.
So
okay,
August 11th.
We're going to add it to our
Facebook.
calendar.
I'm going
add
to
it
go to
to your
Google
Facebook. I have to work on the flyer for that. But August 11th. So our goal is the second Sunday of the month is what we're shooting for.
Cool.
Yeah. Will be the next story time. I don't know what we're reading yet. I have a few options, so we'll get that out. So it'll be that. And let's see, August 25th is Miss Tora's, I named it this because her flyer was so cute, is Drag is O-Town. And so as a winner of Miss Rose Dynasty, you're required to hold a fundraiser to raise money for a local charity. So working together, we're going to be helping raise money for the One Orlando Alliance.
Oh, great.
Our friend Jennifer is the president of that, and I love her so much. And we're going to do that. So 50% of the door sales are going to go to that, and then whatever else we can raise, we'll work that. So it's going to be a benefit for both of us, for Rose Dynasty and for the One Orlando. Yeah. And it's 100% family friendly. So all ages are going to be come. Tickets are on sale now. You can go to the website. It's $20.
So give the website what you're talking about.
Shortest way is rosedynasty.com. We have several different links that can go to it, but if you go to rosedynasty.com, go to our events, and you'll see it there. Everything I'm talking about will be on there. You'll see some other stuff, too. We're popping up at Pride events and some other things. But the show is going to be great. It's $20 in advance, $30 at the door. I know it's a little much, but you're going to have, I think there's 10 to 15 drag queens of all ages, shapes, and sizes, and we're just going to do a fun little event and raise some money. We're going to have raffles and some other stuff. So I'm pretty excited. Tora has been amazing. She has represented Miss Rose Dynasty wonderfully.
We love Tora.
I mean, who doesn't, right? Yeah. And then, she won Miss Citrus Comedy Queen, and she's on Camp Wanakiki.
Yes.
Go Team Hyman. I'm so excited. So, she's represented us well and become a really dear friend of mine. Yeah. I absolutely adore, oh, my God. That's my girl. So that's a little bit. But please check out our Facebook, Rose Dynasty Foundation. You can follow Momma Ashley Rose. We're on Instagram and Facebook. And then, of course, the website's rosedynasty.com. And so I think we're going to take a break, aren't we?
Daniel wants to know if you're going to take Rose Dynasty Foundation beyond Florida.
Where are you at, Dan? Is this Daniel from California?
Probably.
I love you, Daniel. Daniel, let me tell you something. Daniel sends monthly. He's he's our only monthly sponsor right now.
Every month. Get on the shtick, guys. Come on.
So listen, Daniel sends a little bit of money every month, and I love him. Daniel was at my first show in California that I did, and we'll talk about that sometime. I met him through a group. Back then it was called GCN. It was Gay Christian Network. And I worked in Southern California with him. Daniel is one of those sweetest people. He'll be here soon. I can't wait. He'll actually be here on the 4th. So when I leave the kids, I'm driving straight to Orlando to see him. Big supporter. And I will take it anywhere. I was just in Tennessee 2 weeks ago. I've got some ideas. We can go. It's just, got to make it happen. Right. So, of course, I love you, Danielle.
And once you build the network and lay the foundation and have that template of then you can just
copy paste,
put it wherever it needs to go.
It'll get there. We're closer. We're closer than we were a year ago. That's for sure. Awesome.
I'm gonna go strangle the dog.
No,
I mean not literally, but I'm gonna go quiet the dog.
Go give her some rum.
Let's not say that publicly.
Okay, so let's do this. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. I have some interesting stuff to talk about in the news. We're going to talk about some human rights campaign data that I thought was very interesting.
All right, let's hit it.
So we'll be back after I fill my glass. You're listening to SarahTalk.
I was feeling so alone.
I was going through a really difficult time.
I was embarrassed and a little scared.
I didn't want to bother anyone.
I didn't think they'd understand.
I thought it would just make things worse.
It was tough at first, but I did it. It ended up taking a huge weight off my shoulders.
I feel a lot better.
I'm glad I asked for help.
I asked for help.
I asked for help.
I asked my teacher. I asked my aunt.
I asked my dad.
I asked my mom.
I asked the Trevor Project.
Now, I feel like I can get through this.
I know that I'm brave.
You can do this.
You can do this.
You can do this.
Ask for help.
Ask for help.
Ask for help.
Ask for help.
Whatever it is, ask for help.
If you're thinking about suicide or need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. Trained counselors are there to help 24/7. Ask for help.
I was feeling so alone.
I was going through a really difficult time.
I was embarrassed and a little scared.
I didn't want to bother anyone.
I didn't think they'd understand.
I thought it would just make things worse.
It was tough at first, but I did it.
It ended up taking a huge weight off my shoulders.
I feel a lot better.
I'm glad I asked for help.
I asked for help. I asked for help.
I asked my teacher. I asked my aunt.
I asked my dad.
I asked my mom.
I asked the Trevor Project.
Now, I feel like I can get through this.
I know that I am brave.
You can do this.
You can do this.
You can do this.
Ask for help.
Ask for help.
Ask for help.
Ask for help.
Whatever it is, ask for help.
If you're thinking about suicide or need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. Trained counselors are there to help 24/7. Ask for help.
In today's health-conscious society, you have many beverage choices. But do you know what's in all of them? So much sugar, sodium, and things you can't even pronounce. Dihydrogen monoxide. What's that? Sometimes you wish you just had a simple, more elegant solution for your beverage needs. Introducing H2O, the first ever chemical-free thirst quencher. H2O is simple, simply composed of 3 portions of 2 elements, hydrogen and oxygen. H2O means chemical-free, unlike water, which is filled with all sorts of shit. When we tested H2O, we found traces of no other elements. So pure, the bottle may as well be fucking empty, with all the same nutritional content as a breath of cool mountain air. First widely featured on Goop.com, actress Gwyneth Paltrow revealed that she exclusively uses H2O for her vaginal steaming process. After all, why use water when you can steam it with H2O? So now we invite you to run out to your local garden hose and drink that shit. Remember, it's not water, it's H2O.
H2O bottled by Flint Bottling Company in Flint, Michigan. Product not actually endorsed by Goop or Gwyneth Paltrow. Please do not use H2O for vaginal steaming, or better yet, please do not steam your vagina. H2O is actually just water. Water is a set of molecular compounds. It's a chemical. Everything is a chemical.
Hello, my friends. This is Sister Mary Atheist of the Church of Religious Avoidance down here in Bumblefuck, Alabama. Now, my friends, my people, my brothers and sisters, do you feel lost? Do you feel that swelling urge to be a part of something better? Well, let the word of SarahTalk help you. If you've never known the word SarahTalk, learn it, live it, love it. Can I get an amen? No? Good, 'cause we don't do that shit round here. My friends, we must all remember that the good word of SarahTalk doesn't happen for free. So get yourself over to patreon.com/SarahTalk and help us spread the word. Plant that seed and help it grow into secular, peer-reviewed empirical evidence for the good of all. In the name of the Sarah, the Becca, and the science-based podcast, amen. Hallelujah and holy shit.
SarahTalk is horrible.
These are tough people.
They prey on the vulnerable. They hurt women and children. They spread human misery and suffering. I'll tell you what, SarahTalk should be ashamed of itself. Sarah, you are a rude, terrible person. The way you treat Donald Trump is horrible. And the way you treat other people are horrible. You shouldn't treat people that way. Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run SarahTalk. And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
Are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President,
That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. Put down the mic.
Thank you, President Trump.
I can't.
gosh.
I cannot with those last 2 commercials. Oh, yeah.
So the Trump one I made, I just found there's an archive of all of his speeches, and that you can search by keyword, and I found the words that I needed, and I pulled the audio and I stitched it all together. It was lots of fun. and Victoria, our sister Mary Atheist, she's a hoot.
I
love
was
her to
digging
death.
that. That was definitely one of those that we sang earlier that I might have to park that in the parking lot because I can't drive that truck today.
Yeah.
There was one point in time where we were like going to take ourselves seriously and actually do like advertising and try to get some additional revenue into the show that way. But it turned out it's a whole lot more fun just to have our friends come in and make stupid commercials about stupid stuff that makes you laugh.
So we might need to talk if you need somebody else. We know somebody that would be very well. Madeline Rose. So if you're listening, we were just talking about her earlier. She's one of my drag kids. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll tell you that story sometime.
All right.
Jake did a commercial about water, which is making fun of sort of science denialism, where he's trying to sell you. I think we played it in this break set, where he's trying to sell you a bottle of water, but it's called H2O. It's like water, but it doesn't have all the stuff that water has in it. Like
hydrogen monoxide or
dihydrogen monoxide.
What even is that?
Yeah. and then our friend.
I do hair. I don't know.
And then our friend Brandon does a killer Miss Cleo, and so he did a commercial as Miss Cleo.
Oh my
really
God.
Good.
Oh, Cleo, I forgot about that one.
Call me now for your free tarot reading. Brittany says, I was surprised at how many children spoke of bullying when they were asked what upsets them. Is that a common thread of most of the youth you mentor? I feel like that's why we were drawn to your mission. I know that you were looking to create a safe space, but so many have those stories in the group.
Hi, Brittany.
I'm kind of back on.
Oh. So I think it's common, yeah.
Yeah.
We've dealt with, even outside of the city, reaching out to, I've had kids reach out to me from the UK who have had similar situations.
Sure.
So, it's something real, and I think like we were talking earlier, it's because the kids know it's real and it's not right, they're speaking up more.
Yeah.
And anybody that's listening that could tell their kids, and I think I said it on Sunday, the importance too is to protect our friends. And if I didn't say that, I probably something I could add at another time of, if you see your friend getting bullied, then you need to speak up. It's important, see something, say something, cliche, I know, but but it is a fact. Is if you see it, you need to say it. Like, the kids need to know that. So it is becoming common. But I think because we're more outspoken about it now, I don't want to say it's not as bad as it used to be, but I think it's in the forefront, and which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because when you start bringing those things to light, it's kind of hard for them to hide in the darkness.
Right.
That, again, me and my little cliches sometimes, but it is true. So thank you. I'm glad that they're drawn. I actually met Brittany and their little one, Liam, at Polk Pride, and they were there, and it was such a great...
Polk Pride is just... we were so surprised. I know we've said this before on the show every year.
It gets bigger and bigger, and it's so amazing.
Astonished at the number of people that show up for that.
Thank you, Polk Pride Board and people for doing this. It's a big thing. Listen, I remember 10 years ago, it tried to start stuff, and it just wasn't working. In the last 6 years, I've been here 3 now, 2 or 3, I think that's my 3rd one. And every year growing. And for me, for us as a foundation, what was amazing is the people that came to find us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys came over, and others that came just to said, we want to know if we were here again. And it was just such a great thing. Who would have thought? Who'd have thunked it?
Yep.
Polk County just got
backwoods, hillbilly, redneck, Polk County.
Yeah. Lord, it ain't as bad as it used to be. It ain't Okeechobee. But that's where I grew up.
It sure goes a long way to sort of counter that picture that people have in their mind of Polk County, and that's amazing.
So I was talking to someone today, and they were talking about how it's grown. There's so much diversity. Oh yeah. There's so much diversity in the city compared to 10 years ago. When I came out like 20 years ago. It just wasn't there, Heck, I had a chance to go stand in for Polk Pride and receive a proclamation from the county.
Yeah.
The county board, like it was such an amazing. That doesn't happen everywhere. Most of the cities in Polk County are recognizing it now. And that's again, we know that's a big topic right now of pride and all that, but it's so important. Because it's important. Yeah, but Polk County has done such a great thing. But that's where I met Brittany and a lot of people that came. I'm so excited about that.
Okay, so let's talk about this story that's happening is sort of the world of politics, but specifically in LGBT rights.
Okay.
So I would say most of our listeners know about the Human Rights Campaign, right? They have a program that ranks major corporations based on their level of equality within the organization and stuff that they do in the community. The Corporate Equality Index.
Right.
So like 100 is leader of the pack, right? They have non-discrimination policies, same-sex spouse benefits, the certain levels of LGBTQ training, and there's a whole bunch of things they look at that add up to you get a 100% rating.
Right.
And these are like the top corporations. And then 0 would be like Bigot Bakery. Okay. So in the 2019 report, 571 major businesses in the U.S., 571 earned 100%.
Wow.
So, I mean, before we go on, like, wouldn't it be great if people actually care and knew this stuff and like voted with their wallet and like go to the companies that support our community or could afford to, right? Because how many times are you like, I would love to go shop at some place that I could afford the stuff that's more expensive, but here I am at Walmart or whatever, you know, like. What was it? Oh, no, Amazon. We were taking tons of crap for because we have Amazon Smile for our nonprofit.
Yeah,
and
we're working on that
Yeah,
too,
but they destroy the small businesses. And I'm like, oh, my God, calm down. Like, I get it. I'm not telling someone to go shop on Amazon to support us. I'm saying you already shop on Amazon. We all know that you do. While you're there, you might as well
give back.
Throw some money our way. And it costs you nothing.
Or to any charity.
Or,
like,
right.
You know,
pick any charity.
if our thing isn't your cup of tea, pick a charity because they're doing good things, even though they're destroying businesses.
But this person
they've
wanted
created
us,
a program to donate to charities.
And they
Give
are
them some
big
slack.
community activists.
But
this,
this person wanted us to like put our foot down and say, no, Amazon is the enemy of the little guy, and don't go there. Well, I can't do that. That's not my position as a board member of a nonprofit. Like, I can't. That's
I can't.
Regardless of how I feel about capitalism, and we'll come back to that. In that capacity. All right. So anyway,
it kind of just made me think of is like, remember when everybody wanted to do that to Disney for Gay Days?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It was like, how much did that help?
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, people get sticks up their ass all the time, and they don't enjoy it, and that's just not fun.
And what they say. What they say about
we're gonna park that. I can't drive that truck today.
What they say
you
about
just
like,
learn how to enjoy it. That's all I'm saying.
We're gonna boycott this. We're gonna boycott that, and then they don't.
Right.
Let's be honest. Anyway, so interestingly, one of the things that one of the measures that the HRC index has is equality in the public square. So this looks at companies that have like publicly expressed commitment to equal rights.
Okay.
Maybe they're on board with the Equality Act. That'll never make it through the Senate unless you fuckers get out there and vote.
I can say that. Vote, please. Vote.
Vote. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but vote. Next, so anyway, there's also a report that HRC does that is a scorecard on your elected officials. So what's interesting? What's interesting about this?
You got some homework to do, don't
is
you?
that well, I can tell you, all of ours are shit.
Well, it doesn't take a genius to figure that out.
Hi, Marco, if you're listening. A new activist group called
That'll be the day.
The opinions expressed on the
I'm gonna drink my sweet tea.
There is a new activist group called Zero for Zeros, and they took a look at the politicians who HRC rated 0 on the scorecard, and then researched their campaign contributions to see who's been giving them money.
Okay.
You would probably not believe the amount of 100% rated HRC index companies who are pouring money into the campaign funds of 0% rated public officials.
That's where it gets so interesting.
Right?
You're really making this hard.
So that's all right. Jason can come back sometime. We'll talk more.
Wait, quick costume change after the break.
So they called out 27 companies that HRC rated 100 who donated fuck tons of money to re-election campaigns of politicians with 0 ratings.
Is that an actual?
Yes, it is. It's a measurement.
Measurement. Okay.
So 27 companies, including Amazon, we were just talking about, AT&T, Cigna, Cisco Systems, Dell, Ernst & Young, Facebook, Google, JP Morgan Chase, MasterCard, Microsoft, Morgan Stanley, Oracle, PNC Financial, PricewaterhouseCoopers, T-Mobile, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, Visa, as well as American Airlines, AT&T, I said AT&T, and Capital One and Intel. So first of all, there's a lot of banks.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not surprising.
No surprise there.
No.
But what I thought was crazy about this was so who was it? Did Think Progress put an article out about this? And they reached out to all 27 of these companies. And most of them didn't respond before they went to press. Citigroup and Wells Fargo said no comment, which I think says more than it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that last grouping, American Airlines, AT&T, Capital One, and Intel, well, they did respond, but it was some kind of like half-assed attempt at saying like, no, really, we do support LGBTQ equality, but like, look, just because we give some money to a candidate doesn't mean that we agree with everything that candidate values. Okay, but like, it means you're willing to overlook
I feel like
the bigotry and hatred.
I feel like they need to update their rating system.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're giving money to that,
you
can't. That takes your points away. Sorry.
Well, no, I mean,
you've lost your.
Yeah, you definitely have your grade has gone down. So, from what I've experienced and seen working with several corporate type companies, and I could be wrong, and this is not defending any of it. So this is what comes to mind is, corporates are broken up in so many different departments.
Yes.
So you have
and their pack is often a different.
So
wing.
I'm wondering let's be realistic. If you have this group of people that's doing all the LGBTQ plus support, has nothing to do with the people that are giving the money to the politicians.
Right. Sure.
And there's no communication between the two, which we know happens.
Right.
Because we know that somebody sits in an office and makes a rule for somebody that they've never done what they're doing. So, like, I feel so bad, and maybe I think too level-headed sometimes, or like too overreacting. It's like example, Amazon, or any of them, AT&T.
Where are you going to get a credit card from?
Right.
You got MasterCard and Visa.
So there we go. Take my wallet out and put them up. There you go. Right. Sorry, can't do it.
Cigna. Well, my work provides the Cigna insurance.
Cigna.
Like that's.
So where do you have
what do you do?
Because it really sucks, because here you have this corporation who is 100% driven. But you have a group of people that make a decision financially that are giving.
You know what I'm curious to see? When was this published?
This was just in the last 4 days.
I'm waiting to see the fallout. Like, I want to see what happens internally within these companies when the diversity department gets a hold of this and says, whoa.
Is there an internal check and balance?
Yeah.
Which this may be something that just helps bring to light.
Yeah.
To be like,
exactly.
I know you can't control what all these politicians say and think, but you need to get a better grip on it.
I'm a little more pessimistic, I think, because I think, operating in the mindset of somebody who is, Bob Iger, right, or whatever, right? You're running a multi-gazillion-dollar corporation, and no, thank you,
no,
and so it's kind of tropey, and it's kind of it's kind of generalization to say. That these corporations are making decisions that benefit shareholders. Right. I got to make money for my shareholders. Yeah. Their investment has to return, and so whatever that means, I'm going to do. And in this case, it means helping elect politicians who will pass laws that are friendly to corporations. Period. Right? And so that if that means tax cuts to, corporations, or the corporate leaders, the ultra wealthy, then those are my guys, because that's at the end of the day, if it comes, this is late capitalism at its worst. It really is. This is when the bottom lines rule, then it's easy for these faceless corporations to just put the blinders on and forget about the people that are affected by it. And we've got to figure out a way to move our society out of that and towards something that is more empathetic and caring about people who you don't know, who don't look like you, who don't talk like you, who don't act like you, who are on the opposite side of the world and you're never going to meet them.
Right.
Like, we have to learn to give a shit about each other and not the almighty dollar.
And it's such a hard thing. It's a hard balance. I don't like you were just saying. Would you want to be Bob Iger? Would you want that position? I don't know if there's money in the world that would make you want to. I mean,
they sure give it to him.
Right. Well, they sure do, and our Disney kids are suffering from it. But that's a whole other story.
Yeah,
we're gonna park that truck.
Yeah, park it.
But I think about I just totally lost my train. When I parked that truck just now, it parked.
It parked and you walked away and you don't even remember where you parked it.
I was going somewhere with that. Probably
you were
rational.
in IKEA for all of 10 seconds and you don't remember where you parked.
Yeah, I was heading back to get them Swedish meatballs. That's what it was. Or the ice cream.
Yeah.
So, forget it. I don't know what I was just doing. Yeah.
So here.
Going with that. See, I said I was going to park the truck, and I did.
Cross-reference that now, right, with the next story, which is we talked last week about there were a handful of prominent Republicans or well-known former Republicans, leaders in the party, whatever, who have written an amicus brief for the Supreme Court cases that are coming up in the next term, where they're going to be considering things like, can gay people have jobs and not get fired for being gay? Right. Which is fucking crazy. I can't believe
what
we're
year
even
is it
considering
again?
this.
It depends on who you talk to.
Yeah, right. Someone call Doc Brown. Let's go back and get the almanac.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody messed up the space-time continuum. That's all I'm saying.
It wasn't me.
So I'm gonna read the screen from this one because I forgot I didn't print it out in enough time.
Oh, you're fired.
So this is a story about over 200 corporations who have filed a legal brief as well with a coalition of 5 LGBTQ rights groups to submit to the Supreme Court, again ahead of oral arguments before the justices on cases of determining whether gay, lesbian, and transgender people are protected by discrimination by federal civil rights laws. So, we're looking at, does the existing non-discrimination equal rights language cover sexual orientation / and or sort of gender identity, or do we really need to write that in specific language to add to the Civil Rights Act, right? These corporations, among them, Amazon, American Airlines, Bank of America, Microsoft, Morgan Stanley, and several, obviously 200 corporations, but so there's crossover there, right? There's your Venn diagram. There is the advocacy wing of their corporations going out and actually trying to fight for this legislation. So to your point, I think it'll be interesting to see how that puzzle piece really fits together of, right, okay, but you're still giving money to the people who are going to vote no on this. If the Supreme Court says, nope, what they wrote, and we have a more originalist, textualist Supreme Court than in our lifetimes. Mm-hmm. And if they rule that, nope, the people wrote down race, religion, sex, creed, blah, 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 and they didn't mean sexual orientation or gender identity, or they would have written that. So, no. If the Supreme Court decides that, and they may very well, then all that's left for us is to pass the Equality Act. That's the only way we can add in those protections.
Right.
And so great that you're supporting it on the Supreme Court side, but what are you doing then to bolster that on the legislative side to make sure that, and we know, it will never pass the Senate in its current state? So it's frustrating to see all this, and I think what's even more frustrating is, like, being a poor suburbanite that doesn't have, other than going and punching a box at the poll, what power do we have in all of this? Do we really have the, again, because, like, it's Amazon and American Airlines. I'm going to fly American Airlines. I'm going to shop at Amazon. Largely, they are supportive of the community. This one thing is not going to stop people from going and throwing their money at these companies, right? The fact that they then take that money, people still eat at Chick-fil-A, okay? So, at what point then?
Wow.
What power do we have other than the booth at the voting booth? What power do we have? I don't know.
It's such I don't even know how to answer that. Like you said, we still do the things. Where do you, as in the South we say, where do you shoot yourself in the foot? Where do you cut off your arm to spite your foot? Whatever. Where is that?
And talk about late capitalism. We're all too busy working and paying our damn bills to get involved and care about this stuff. And that's done on purpose. Like that is constructed in a way specifically to keep you just running the machine while all this other stuff happens. It's frustrating.
It's very frustrating. I had this conversation earlier today with someone. I don't just dance around and put drag on and run a foundation. I have to work full time.
Yes.
Yes. I went into debt to start
had this conversation about, wouldn't it be great if we could just quit our jobs and be full-time activists?
Right.
I would make the world better.
I would do
actually
just as full-time. I'd probably last longer. I'd probably be feeling better,
Yeah.
But I got to work. I've got to make a living. I've got to pay the bills. I don't, and it's such a where's that balance? And I talk about balance a lot, because I try to keep myself balanced. Of where is that? Where do you balance that? You have these companies that obviously are rating this 100%, but I'm saying, like you say, we're going to see where this puzzle puts together. But at the same time, unless we move to the mountains and open a refuge and grow our own stuff and never buy anything from another place.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. Right, and you can't do that.
You can't go off grid. You
can't.
Right.
I can't. Lord, I wouldn't be able to. As much as I like to occasionally, I still don't go completely off grid when I do.
And there are so many things that we're given the perception of a choice, but there's not. Right. Like, if you live where we live, you get Duke Energy.
Right.
And
like,
there's cable has a little, you have a few more choices, but it's still the way that monopoly is set up.
It's sad though, because a lot of.
I just remembered. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
you go.
I just remember. So we talked about monopolizing. We talked about the almighty dollar. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
And I spent a lot of time with a friend of mine doing a lot of historical research. I used to really love history, and I do now. I just don't have the time that I used to. So a lot of this started, and I'm going to call the names, was J.P. Morgan Chase, was Rockefeller, was Flagler. They're the ones that started this whole monopoly, the Trilateral Commission, all this stuff that happened in the U.S. This is how this really, and I could be wrong, but from what I remember researching and studying and seeing and experiencing, this is where a lot of it began in this country, because they were some of connected, again, giving and connected to the politicians, giving connected to these people, and it's just continued to snowball. A snowball effect. That's what I was. I knew it. But it is. If you think about it, and I look, hearing all the stuff that you're saying, I look back in history. I look back in the 1800s and the turn of the century. I was like, I remember this. I remember this. Us studying this. I remember us researching this. And even people going, you don't want to get involved in all this. No, this is what happened. This is history. Interesting.
Anyway, I think it all just kind of underscores the need for us to make our personal connections and have those relationships and support each other.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's hard, and it's frustrating because we're all working so many freaking hours just to make ends meet, and but you got to find ways to do it.
Right.
And I think you are doing a lot to create the space for those things to happen within our community, and I think that's awesome.
Exactly. Thank you. And on that note, we're talking about doing the youth groups and the teens. My goal is not to run that. Like, I mean, I'll facilitate.
Right.
We were doing the young, the 12 and under, and our goal is like our parents that are involved in Rose Dynasty, they're going to rotate.
Yeah.
They're going to rotate facilitating it each time. I'll be there, but it's not. It's not going to be my responsibility. I can't do everything. We're going to come, like you said, we're going to create this thing and just continue to duplicate it.
Yep.
And it's going to become a machine to run itself, and not to robotize or whatever the word would be I'm trying to think of, but like to make it work, because I can't do everything. I can't go, and I just had this conversation.
You create the model.
Create the model, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. I can't be everywhere at once.
Yeah.
I can't, as much as I want to be. I mean, I have to learn I can't. So, yeah, absolutely.
I was going somewhere else with that. Oh, no, there was a comment. Brittany says, Progressive lets you contribute to anyone, and they match it 100%. So that could contribute to those numbers, too. Right. So this was, from this story, this was specifically these companies, like political action committees, making specific payments to certain campaigns, was what this data was reporting on. But that brings up a really good point that I want to throw out there, which is if you work for a corporation that does employer matching, some of them do straight donation matching, some of them do volunteer hours. If you volunteer with a local charity and report your hours back, they will give money back to that charity. If you need if you need help getting that set up, reach out, because that's a fairly easy thing to go back to that corporation and go, hey, here's my 501c3 stuff, whatever you need, let me know. And then you, at whatever employer you work for, if it's a big enough corporation, go check with your HR.
Absolutely.
They will donate match to Rose Dynasty Foundation. So
yeah, and all you have to do is show up and give kids popcorn and cookies.
Right. Or donate a few bucks
every
month
or whatever it is. Like, there's so many different ways to support.
Absolutely. So, and we were just talking about, we are not short of volunteers. I'm so blessed with that. That is definitely one thing we are not short of, because we have some amazing families and parents and friends that want to get involved. But exactly, if you have a company that would do that, oh my goodness, you should do that.
Yeah.
Even if it's not with us, any charity that you work for, that's the best way to give it back. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's why I always said, if the companies are offering that program, take advantage of it. Just pick something, because that's the best like easiest way for you to.
Absolutely. Because I get stuff all the time. I want to be able to give.
Yeah,
but sure. I can't always give. I can't. We try to raise money for other charities and nonprofits, and we do, and we have, and we'll continue. But I don't always have it out. I've got my friends needing money to do this and that, and what can I do physically?
Yeah.
What can I? So I just cheer you on. That's all I can do right now.
Been there.
That is. So wow, that was a hard one.
that challenges your.
It challenges, and I think it goes all back to what we said. You got to vote.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you who to vote for or what to vote, but you have to.
Yep.
You have to. You have to educate your kids to, when they turn 18, they need to be voting. I don't care what people say, whether you think it matters or not.
Yep.
Do it. And I've said this so many times, and I don't know if I'm going to say it. And I said this to people recently.
Put the truck in drive, Mama.
If you whine and gripe and complain about what's going on and you've not voted, you need to shut your mouth.
I just thought of another event. I just thought of an event for you.
Yeah?
Drag the vote.
Drag the vote?
Instead of rock the vote.
We'll have to look and see if our 501c3 allows us to read those legal.
Okay, well, if you can't do it, you have friends.
I have friends that can do it that are not, and we try. I mean, I hear it a lot. I mean, of course, we hear the political stuff and about this one and that one, but I do hear and the performers and entertainers, vote.
You have to.
Yeah. I had recently with a family member, and I was like, "You've never voted, so you can't talk." I'm sorry.
We've talked about this a lot on the show, I guess, over the years. When I worked in talk radio, I was a dumb 19-year-old kid that didn't know shit about shit, and that was my shtick on the show. Was I was the dumb 19-year-old kid that didn't know anything, and it was a conservative talk radio. So of course, voting is a right and a privilege, and you should do your duty to America and go masturbate onto the American flag while you're casting your vote.
Ding.
The long version of that story is masturbate onto the American flag while you're while you're holding a rifle and singing "God Bless America" or whatever it is. But anyway,
sorry, Lee Greenwood.
So I thought it was a Star Spangled Banner, but okay.
Yeah, maybe it was. I don't remember.
Probably Star Spangled Banner.
It's a little different every time I tell it. But I wasn't involved. I wasn't politically engaged. I just never was. I don't remember my parents taking me. Like, we take our kids to the polls every time.
But my parents, our generation didn't.
I don't remember them voting at all. Like, they may have, but I didn't see it. I wasn't part of, like,
it wasn't
spoken.
It wasn't outly spoken. I mean, because I'm 40, so I don't know if we're close in the same range.
Right on.
So, that generation and probably the generation before, it was like sex. It wasn't talked about.
It was
taboo.
taboo.
It was taboo.
Yeah.
It was hush hush. This is, and probably spouses didn't even know what each other voted.
Or he told her what to vote for. Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. So it wasn't. I'm trying to think of the first time I voted. I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I registered, but I never did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I remember doing it the first time going, oh my God, I don't even know who to vote for. Let me go,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, close my eyes.
Here's a name I recognize.
Yeah.
I guess.
And educate yourself and do it. You need to. I don't care what people say, whether you think it counts or not. You need to be voting.
Yep.
Look,
if you want the Equality Act passed, I think that's like in my top 5 things I'd like to get done soon.
Yeah.
If the Supreme Court won't, and it won't, affirm that that our rights are protected under the existing law, then we need to change the law, and then we need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's important. Yeah.
That's in my top 5 things that need to get done.
Mm-hmm.
To get done, absolutely.
So anyway,
I mean, again, like I said before, our children are the future. If we're not preparing and taking care of them now and prepping, we've already done a disservice to them, economically and to our
planet.
Our planet. That's what I was trying to think. We've done a disservice, and if we don't fix things and start getting and training them right, we've done a disservice. So
we need to put the truck in reverse.
Yeah. Well,
you mean go back
drive.
Well,
when America was great again?
Well,
that sort of thing?
No,
America's always
that's not what I meant.
But no.
Why are you putting words in my mouth now?
I know what you meant.
You know what I meant. I meant like turn back Mother Nature's clock.
Right. So
put a minus reverse on the
doomsday
national debt.
Countdown. Right.
I really, we need to be better stewards with it. I mean, our environment. I'm happy that I work for a company that is very, very conscious of nature and our our world. And I didn't realize. I'm sad that I didn't realize it till I was in my 30s of how important it was.
Yeah.
Really what we were doing. I mean, I did grow up in the country. I remember, how we got our food. I remember that, but not a lot of people don't. I mean, most younger generations don't. And we've definitely have done a disservice. We haven't been good stewards with our planet. And it's sad. It's sad. And I'm hoping that, I don't know, I'm not a scientist. I don't know if we can fix it or change it or slow it down or what. But I would hope that we would continue to be wise. I work for, like I said, I work for Aveda, and Aveda is very conscious. Everything is sustainable resources. We're all about giving back to the earth and, recycling. It's so important. And I think that if more people, and you don't have to be a hippie, to do that. It's just the small things that can make a difference.
We're on a rabbit trail again, but I'm tortured about some of that sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I think okay, if I stop using straws, how big of an impact does that really make?
Have you watched the YouTube videos of straws getting pulled out of sea turtles' noses?
Yes. But, okay, listen.
That's one sea turtle I've seen.
My point.
But I know what you're saying. But I know what you're saying.
No, but my point is, we go out today and we clean up the roadway, right? We have a 2.2-mile stretch of road. We cleaned up maybe a mile, not even half.
Not even half. 13 bags of trash.
13 bags of trash. There's a shit ton of trash. It probably hasn't been cleaned up in a really long time. And in 2 weeks, we're going to go back out there.
And do it again.
And it's going to be trashed again.
Yeah.
Like, and to me, like, I think, okay, that's a little bit more of a beautification project maybe than it is an environmentality thing. Because we bagged up 13 bags of trash and stacked them in a stack. And in a couple of days, a big truck's going to drive up, pick them up, throw them in the truck, drive them to a landfill, throw them in a pile, and throw some dirt on top of it. Yeah. So we moved it from here. We moved the problem from here over to here.
We didn't stop the
problem. And so I think there are things that, like, obviously litter is and waste is one thing, and I'm going to talk about something separate and different. But, like, I think if you want to make a serious impact, we live in the goddamn sunshine state. Change all of the building codes to say that any new building or major renovation to a building starting on January 1st, 2020, you are required to put solar on the rooftop. Done. Make it part of the building code. We already have building codes that say this is how the plumbing has to go.
Yeah.
Make it so that it says this is how the power has to go. But do you know why we don't? Duke Energy.
Yeah. You know, well, okay, so...
And the others. Like, they're not the only Florida power company.
This is the thing...
They don't want you making your own energy.
This is the thing that pisses me off about environmentality and power and all of this shit, right? Okay, so where the sun shines, yeah, we should all be running on solar. Sure. The minute that shit was discovered, we should have just hit the ground running.
Yeah.
It's our friggin' nickname.
People would be put to work installing solar.
I think it's Norway.
Yeah.
They have figured out how to take all of their garbage and turn it into a power source. They're contacting other countries around them to have their garbage from other countries imported because they're out of garbage.
Yeah.
And that's how they get their energy.
Yeah. You mean a country could be out of garbage if we do something right?
What?
Wow, what a concept.
Like, I mean, it's not just solar. There's so many other things that can be good for the environment.
Well, I mean, I know with Aveda, and I keep talking about because it's what I'm knowing now. Like all of our containers are all 40 to 90%, I think, if I'm not mistaken, recycled plastic, and all of our products are made with wind power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the wind.
It can be done.
Yeah.
It can be done.
And they've been doing this for like 40 years.
Like,
you know, it's like it can be totally done.
You listen to one particular mango talk about the coal jobs. No, we don't need the coal jobs back. What we need is to change the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And you can get a lot of people back into the workforce by changing the infrastructure because that's a big job and it can be done. We have the technology.
Yep. And take that and invest in the people who are, I want to go back to work at my coal job. That's all I know. That's all I've ever done.
Yeah.
Fine, we'll teach you to do this other thing.
Yeah.
Because we're going to need you to do it. We're going to need the labor.
But we can't figure that out yet because we don't even know how to get Michigan clean water.
We try to fight all the big problems here on the show.
I know. You have a drag queen
about it because
and family. Let's do this. Do we have some comments?
Yes. Brittany says it's so important to let your constituents know what they need to be fighting for. I think she means let your elected representative know what they need to be fighting. Yeah. And so I would say yes.
Absolutely.
Our organization is an affiliate of American Atheists, and they have a sort of push that is like, look, go to your as general members, right, as people on the street. Go to town halls, go to
school board meetings,
interview, anywhere that there's someone running for office, and say, "Hi, I'm an atheist. I vote. What are you gonna do for me?"
Yep.
Right? Because, and this is why I love. We haven't even talked about our 2020 debate thing.
No.
Yet. I have a top 5, but I'm not gonna talk about tonight. But this is what I love about Mayor Pete. I love that he's willing to get up on stage and say, "Hey, listen, I'm a Christian. Faith is important to me, but look, I think the separation of church and state is enshrined in the First Amendment, and it's very important to me." And I think we need more people doing that because we're seeing, we've been covering, I've given a talk about this movement to create a Christian nation state. And so in the same way, we need to go out there and say, hey, I'm a queer person. What are you going to do for me? I vote. You want my vote?
Right.
What are you going to do for me? I think we all need to do that. And whatever it is. I'm an environmentalist.
Right.
What are you going to do
Go and represent yourself
for my interests?
I'm a single parent, or
And people do it. Sometimes the people that do it are a little extreme.
I'm a 3-time college dropout, and I can't get a job because every freaking job needs a degree.
Right. Okay.
Hey, wait a minute. That resembles me a little more than it's comfortable.
Exactly.
It's true, though. Like, everybody has their thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a gay man, and I'm a drag queen, and I run a foundation for you. What are you going to do for me and my kids?
Yeah.
What are you going to do for me and my thousands of kids out there, Yep. Exactly. It's a good thing. It's definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's, for me, it was really eye-opening when we got to go to the county board and receive that proclamation.
Yep.
We got to see some other things briefly that people were going to I would not have wanted to be in their shoes, going to the county board and requesting and talking to them. Like, then why aren't we doing that? But a lot of times we would rather just sit and whine and cry about it. And,
you're too busy with work,
or you're too busy,
family and life.
I can't really go at 10 o'clock in the morning to a board meeting because I'm busy.
But I will add to that, though, and then we can wrap up here. We're hitting on 2 hours. But
oh my,
I will add to that, though. Organizing, finding a local community, I think has been beneficial in that. So, like, we're nearing 200 people in our community group, and there is a proposal that's being submitted to Winter Haven.
Is it Winter Haven?
Pretty sure. That is it's a comprehensive plan to address the homeless problem in Winter Haven.
Okay.
Right. Which is better, and this plan is loads better than the one I saw. Somebody posted the other day. Did you see that about where they're playing It's Raining Tacos and some other stupid bullshit in the park because they want to drive away the homeless people? Like, again, we need to recognize the humanity in others. We need to understand what people are going. Anyway.
And I like that song, so
there was another one. There was another one too, but I don't remember what it was.
You do or you don't?
I don't. If it was Raining Tacos, I'd be like,
Well, our little one says it's raining nachos.
Nachos. Okay, I like that better. Nachos are better. A little bit extra cheese and tomatoes.
But anyway, so there is this sort of comprehensive plan that is bringing together different key interested parties to build this coalition to actually come up with solutions to address this problem. Is it tiny houses? Is it different programs that service organizations need to create? Is it if businesses are pissed off that there's someone experiencing homelessness pissing on their doorstep, then are they willing to invest in programs that will help bring that person out of homelessness and back into the full experience of society? And if we can get those key businesses involved and all of that stuff, right? And so they're presenting this to the Winter Haven City Commission in a couple of weeks. I don't remember when, the next week maybe. And so,
I don't remember.
And so I had one concern. It sounded great. I loved it. There was only one concern I had, and that was, and you don't get in the truck. And that
just
was,
don't get in the truck.
Don't even get in the truck. Take the keys, throw them out in the cornfield. Throw them out in the cornfield. And it was part of their short-term plan was there's 12 churches we're going to reach out to and ask them to house 4 families for a short period of time and this, right? Okay. And I said, okay, fine, but what checks are in place to make sure that that's not abused? Because unfortunately, all of the homeless programs in Polk County are faith-based.
Yes.
And a lot of them say, you can come stay here at our shelter and have a meal. Let us pray.
But
now we're going to read the Bible together. If you would read the scriptures with me, and then we can have a meal.
Or I'm sorry, I won't be able to take your money that you wanted to raise for me because you're gay and a drag queen.
Right.
It happened.
Yeah. Yes. And so
okay, you don't need my money
that's my concern.
So,
my concern is
Yeah.
Yes, they're asking for business investors, but they're also asking for tax dollars.
Right.
And so if we're bringing tax dollars in, separation of church and state, as long as it's not discriminatory and you're not proselytizing to people in their weakest hour, I'm okay with that.
Sure.
But I also think it's not 1800 anymore, and we shouldn't be asking the church to handle all of our social problems. We should learn that people need each other and fucking invest in each other. Again, even if we don't know them, even if they look different, even if they talk differently, we have to get to that point. But anyway, the long ramble to that was this local community group that we've created for our group affords us a space to say, hey, who lives in Winter Haven that could go to this meeting? Because I can't make it.
Yeah.
And I have concerns. We can talk it through. If you share those concerns and you're willing to go to this meeting and maybe get up during the public comment portion and just say, hey, I'm a Winter Haven resident. I kind of have some concerns about this. As long as it's not this, this, or this, I'm fine with that. But I just wanted to raise those concerns so that as you guys are, deciding whether to adopt this plan or not, you can take those into account. We've built a network of people in the county who we can call on to say who's passionate about this and has Thursday night at 7 o'clock off.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the grassroots organizing that we need for so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds so familiar.
Mic drop.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And the great thing is we don't have to agree.
Right.
It's not about
right
when it and I can say this is when it comes to faith and when it comes to science, whatever. We don't have to agree. I don't have to agree with you. You don't have to agree with me. Our journey right now, we're walking together, and I say this a lot. We need to celebrate and embrace not the differences.
Mm-hmm.
We need to come together in commonality.
Yep.
And get rid of and stop worrying about the differences.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And if my faith-based people would get that right, it'd be a little better.
Atheists are assholes too.
I know a couple that are too.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, my pagan friends
Lots
are
of
Buddhists,
them are.
so they're all buttholes. So yeah. I mean, they all have that. I mean, heck, I know a lot of drag queens that are. So it is what it is. But if even if it's the minority of us that will get together and stand together and be an example to teach this younger generation.
Yes.
That this is how it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think we can make a difference, and I know I keep referring to that, but that's
no,
what
you're
I
right.
want to
That's
see.
where it has to be.
Because I keep telling you, I'm gonna live to 130, and I believe I am. One way or another, I'm gonna live to 130. But if I hit 130 and I go, I need to have made sure I have made a way for those coming after me.
Right.
And they have to be educated. They have to.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be taught and nurtured. So.
Yep.
That's awesome. It's good to hear that you guys are getting involved in the community, and I love what you said. Who are us gonna? And not saying that we need to stand and wave a rainbow flag or a pride flag or a trans flag, whatever. That all we need to do is stand up and say, "Hi, my name is Jason. I'm a gay man. What are you going to do for me?" I love that. That is probably one of the best things I've heard.
How are you going to protect me from being fired from my job? How are you going to protect my kids?
Right. Yeah.
How are you going to guarantee that my spouse gets benefits if I die?
Yep.
How are you going to guarantee all of these things for me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not hard to ask. Most of the time, they're probably going to be like, duh, I don't know.
Yeah.
They may not know. They may have an answer. They may agree with you. They may not.
And that it's an interesting way to point that question, too, right? Because you could say, oh, well, what do you think about this particular issue?
Yeah.
And then they just get to wax and knock it out of the
you
park,
gotta put them on the
but
spot.
you got to put them on blast. Yeah.
And as someone told me wisely one day, if you're not going to do it, who's going to do it?
Yep.
Right. Yep.
Now we've come full circle.
Wow.
So let's wrap this thing up. Tell us again where to find all of your things, the Facebooks, the websites, all of that stuff.
So rosedynasty.com is our website. You'll be able to check out our events. Facebook is Rose Dynasty Foundation. And then you can like Momma Ashley Rose on there also. And Instagram, same thing. Anywhere you go, Rose Dynasty Foundation. Twitter. We're working on our Twitter account. I'm trying.
I'm not a Twitter person.
Like, I'm trying. We're trying. So, yes.
I'm trying. She says.
I'm trying.
I'm
trying. We're trying. But the website is definitely a great place. Reach out to us. we definitely are looking for support, and I really appreciate you plugging that in there. We are a 501c3.
Please.
We are not for profit. We can get you that tax write-off. The donations are appreciated. Facility, we have the Venue Salon in Lakeland, where I work, has been wonderful for story time and for youth meetings, but
it's not going to last forever, and
it's not. And we're going to need a place. We need venues to do shows. We do dinner shows. There's so much I can tell you that we do. But that would be great. Reach out to us if you know people, if you have places.
Yes.
Definitely let us know. I'm really grateful that you all had us today.
Yeah.
I've had a blast. I forgot how much I love doing this.
This is fun. Yeah, we should do this again.
I would totally do this again.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So check us out. Reach out to us. Check out our events.
Yeah, go to facebook.com, and then you're going to type in the search bar BUBGUM.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bubblegum. You got to follow Bubblegum because Bubblegum is rocking.
Bubblegum's awesome. We love Bubblegum too.
I can't wait to bring Bubblegum on stage.
And Bubblegum's family. I love Bubblegum's family's name.
Chewy Gum. I forgot their parents' names.
Cinnamon and Fruity.
Oh, that's right, because I love cinnamon. Yeah, so I am sometimes a senile old lady.
One of us remembered that.
Yeah, I'm a senile old lady sometimes, but I really do try to remember. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Oh,
this is great. We'll do this more.
Oh, absolutely.
So we also want to make sure that we thank our patrons. Yes. People who pay to keep this show going.
Thank you.
Our top patrons, we'll mention Dan in Arizona, the official SarahTalk podcast researcher, who could not be here tonight because he had another commitment.
Yeah,
Dan.
Yeah, Dan.
But that's okay because we stood him up a couple weeks ago.
Dan, we did miss you in the chat, though, so when you're listening back to this,
yes,
for you, buddy.
We also have declined patron Russell and... Every time it comes up decline, I'm just going to read it that way.
That's my brother.
And
thank you, brother Decline Russell.
And Wombology, the study of Wumbo. It's first grade. I don't know what that reference is, but it's John. Of course, it's John.
Oh my goodness.
We have some crazy patrons.
But
we love them all.
We do love them all. So that's going to do it for this episode of SarahTalk. Of course, we want to thank all of you for listening. We want to thank the patrons for patroning, and for Momma Ashley Rose for coming all the way up here to the studio to do this thing that we do. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Love it. Sorry, David, there's no Florida Man. We don't have time for that when we have...
Okay, hold on. Now I got to stop the music. Stop the music.
Oh, my God. Did you really?
No, well, yes, I did, because I have a story about Florida Man.
Okay.
I want you to go... Here, let me see. I think I may still have it open.
Uh-oh. We do Florida
Man. Damn it. I was wrapping the show, and then you got me all...
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Well, I saw that the music wasn't starting on time, so I was trying to vamp for you.
I appreciate that, because it absolutely was not.
Is this Florida Man my family? It should be.
I almost want to read the article, but it's so freaking long that I can't. There's no way. And the Ledger might sue me. So
we don't need that.
No, we definitely don't need that. But anyway, so there was an article in the Ledger, and I'll as soon as I find it here, I'll tell you if it was a opinion piece or letter to the editor. It couldn't be a letter. It was so long.
We typically do a Florida Man story every week. Every now and then we have to skip them, usually when we have in-guest studios, because, especially chatty in-guest studio.
In-studio guest.
Oh, my God. Did I really just say that?
You did. Twice.
Chatty in-studio guest?
Twice.
I think I talked a lot tonight.
Oh, my God.
That's all right.
She talked my brain out. No, actually, I've been up since like 5. And I didn't.
Yeah, we've been up since super, super early.
I didn't go to sleep until 10 o'clock yesterday. It was bad.
Anyway, we can talk about this maybe in more depth on the next episode, but
teaser.
Suffice it to say, I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. Somebody in the Ledger wrote an article, and it was about is it okay to laugh at Florida Man? Was the headline, right? And so, and I know, I feel like we've had this conversation in some regard, and I know I felt some kind of way about it from time to time. So generally what we've done is we take whatever dipshit Florida Man stories there are in the week or recent couple of weeks, and we read them on the show, and then we kind of vote on which one's the silliest or which one we like the best or whatever. And there are times when there are stories that pop up, or people send them to us, and I read them and I just go, oh, I can't do this one. I can't do this one.
Just it's too gruesome, or it's too
right. A homeless man did this thing to somebody, and I'm like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out more often than not, the Florida man meme that was created, the stories that come out kind of under that category, more often than not, are stories that I shouldn't be laughing at. And whether that's mentioned in the story or not, it's usually not.
Mm-hmm.
But, crazy grandma who goes into Walmart and, is drinking out of a Pringles can or whatever.
Right.
Like, there's more to the story that's not being reported about her mental health state and her addictions and her...
Mm-hmm.
And so I just can't do it anymore. I just can't. Because I can't sit here and preach, look at the humanity of people whom you don't know and love them no matter what. And then, look at this crazy fucker that jumped in this pit of alligators and got his foot bit off. Like,
darn the logic.
And that was the story. That was the story that this writer started with. And I'm pretty sure we used it. This guy crawled into a crocodile pit and got his foot bit off, and he was wearing Crocs, and it was funny, right? But it turns out the Crocs he was wearing were Crocs that were given to him the last time he had been in prison. And so there was this whole big cycle of in and out of prison and drug abuse and homelessness that fed into that story that you didn't get in the story.
You're like,
and I'm like, now I feel like
dirty.
a shitty person, and I don't want to be that person. So this is the end of Florida Man.
So you can
not going to do it anymore.
Make fun of me when I'm here. I'll let you.
Okay.
We'll find something funny. But yeah, no, it's
wow.
What a deep end of the show.
Stop. Pause. Wait. I didn't know that was coming.
I didn't plan on it coming.
No, I mean we hadn't even talked about that.
No, we hadn't.
Like, shit. Way to
bring it down.
Oh, do I need to get up and dance to Firework really quick?
Right?
To try to floss? That was deep, though. I mean, hey, that could be a whole other rabbit trail right now. We could talk about that.
Damn, way to blindside them.
Well, leave
it
on that. Care about each other.
Sorry, Dan.
Here it is.
Yeah, people are going to be upset. But
you really don't know the backstory.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
David says sad, but I totally get that and agree. I will miss the segment.
Yep. Oh. We'll find something else fun maybe to plug in. It'll be all right.
Just find silly pictures of me.
There you go. Okay, so
now we can end the show.
Next week, Izzy Stars will be here. We want to thank everybody for listening again, and of course, Momma Ashley Rose and the Rose Dynasty Foundation. And we'll see you all next week. You've been listening to SarahTalk.
SarahTalk is made possible by listener support. Visit patreon.com/SarahTalk to become a patron and help keep this program going. Contact Sarah and Company by email at producer@sarahtalk.com or call 224-40-SARAH. That's 224-407-2724. And follow us on social media, facebook.com/SarahTalkRadio and on Twitter @SarahTalkRadio. SarahTalk is a production of Sarah Austin Media.